Good evening, everyone. So, welcome to the Vallath Marathon Revision. And I hope all of you are excited, confident, and ready with your answers. So, we'll begin this 4-hour session, and where we'll be covering key areas from Indian literature, postcolonial literature, and another extremely important unit, that is research methods in English. Hope you all are excited. So, shall we begin the session? Are you all ready? Yes. So, yes. Okay, so here goes the first question. When was the Indian Education Commission set up? When was the Indian Education Commission set up? We'll begin with Indian literature. And in Indian literature, one of the most important area, that is education commissions. And when was the Indian Education Commission set up? Remember the year? Yes. I hope you are submitting the right answer, and it is 1882. 1882. And this is also known as, which is also known as the Hunter Commission. Remember? The Hunter Commission. Yes. It is also known as the Hunter Commission. Yes. Can you remember the other name for Calcutta University Commission? Can you remember the other name for Calcutta University Commission? Yes, it was headed under the chairmanship of VC. Yeah, it was headed under the chairmanship of Michael Sadler, who was the Vice Chancellor of the University of Leeds. Very good. Sadler Commission. Yes, you are saying the right answer. Yes. The commission, it was from 1917 to 1919. Very good. 1919. Yes. Yeah, 1917 to 1919. Very good. And can you remember the committee that resulted in the formation of the Polytechnic, which is again another important committee that resulted in the formation of the Polytechnic? And this committee, it's particularly focused on vocational education as well. So can you remember this committee, name of this committee? Yes. Abbott Wood Committee. Very good. Abbott Wood Committee. Yes. Can you remember the year associated with Committee on Primary Education? Can you remember the year associated with Committee on Primary Education? It got established under the chairmanship of Mr. B.G. Kerr. I can give you a clue. The year in which one of the most important works on non-fiction writing that got published by Neeraj C. Chowdhury. Remember? And Committee on Primary Education that also got established in the same year. Neeraj C. Chowdhury's Autobiography of an Unknown Indian that got published in the year 1951, and Committee on Primary Education that also got established in the same year 1951. And remember, it was appointed in the year 1951, and this is again a PYQ. It was under the chairmanship of Mr. B.G. Kerr. Yes. And who was the chairman of Official Language Commission in 1956? Very good. Yes. B.G. Kerr. Very good. Yes. And can you remember the year associated with S. Radhakrishnan Commission or University Education Commission? The same year in which T.S. Eliot won the Nobel Prize for Literature. So, which year? Yes, 1948. Very good. 1948. And remember, you can also associate it with the year of publication of the Great Tradition. Remember, Great Tradition. Yes. One of the most important work associated with new criticism. Yes, very good. And can you remember the other name for Secondary Education Commission? Can you remember the other name for Secondary Education Commission? Yes, very good. Mudaliar Commission. Yes, and it recommended abolition of intermediate classes. Yes, very good. Mudaliar Commission. Very good. And which commission was also called National Education Commission? And that particular commission that established free and compulsory education, that recommended free and compulsory education for all children up to the age of 14. Yes. The commission is also called National Education Commission, and yes, Kothari Commission, very good. And yeah, most of you are saying the year as well, 1964 to 66, very good. Yes, 1964 to 66. Yes, very good. Yes. And can you remember the full form of CABE? CABE, Janardhan Reddy Committee or CABE Committee? And the year is 1992. And National Policy on Education, it was revised in 1992 based on the reports of Acharya Ramamurthy Commission and the SCAPE Committee, Janardhan Reddy Committee. Yes. Central Board of Advisory Education, very good. Yes, Central Board of Advisory Education. Yes. Yes, very good. Okay. So let me ask you some questions from literature, Indian literature, one of the earliest texts in Indian literature. Who wrote The Persecuted, or dramatic scenes illustrative of the present state of Hindu society in Calcutta, which is again a play and it has autobiographical elements. And who wrote this play? Yes. Yeah, he wrote about his own conversion to Christianity. Very good. Krishna Mohan Banerjee. Very good. Krishna Mohan Banerjee. Yes. Who wrote who wrote a journal of 48 hours of the year 1945? Remember, this is again an imaginary play. It is again a play about an imaginary uprising against the British in 1945. So the setting is in 1945, and the work got published in the year 1835 by, yes, K.C. Dutt, Kailas Sundar Dutt. Yes, very good. Yes. And who wrote the essay, A Popular Literature for Bengal? Who wrote the essay, A Popular Literature for Bengal? Who wrote this essay, A Popular Literature for Bengal? Who wrote this essay, The Confession of a Young Bengal? I can give you a clue who created this character, Matankini. Hmm. Bankim Chandra Chatterjee, very good. And remember, he was a non-fiction writer as well, and he wrote these essays, A Popular Literature for Bengal, The Confession of a Young Bengal. These are all essays written by Bankim Chandra Chatterjee. And who wrote Rajmohan's wife? Yes, Bankim Chandra Chatterjee. Remember, and there you can find the central character, 18-year-old Matankini. And remember, it was first serialized in which magazine? It was initially serialized in a magazine, and later it appeared in the book form. Indian Field, very good. These serializations, these are all important. Yes, Indian Field, very good. And who wrote A Defense of Hindu Theism? Who wrote A Defense of Hindu Theism that got published in the year 1817? Yes. That is by who wrote Letter on English Education? Yes, Rajaram Mohan Roy. Very good. Rajaram Mohan Roy. And Letter on English Education, yes, it is also known as, it can be considered as the manifesto of Indian Renaissance. Yes. Letter to Amherst. Yes, it has been the work. I mean, the letter, it was addressed to Lord Amherst. Yes. The Governor General. Yes. Very good. Yes. Who wrote, who wrote Indo-Anglian literature? Who wrote Indo-Anglian literature? Can you remember the writer who wrote Indo-Anglian literature? Yes, very good. Yes, Srinivas Iyengar, very good. Srinivas Iyengar, who wrote Indo-Anglian literature. Okay. Again, maybe you can expect these questions in the form of match the following questions. So please remember, he wrote one of the most important texts associated with Indian English literature. So remember, Indo-Anglian literature, that is a work by Srinivas Iyengar. And who wrote English in India, its past, its present and future? English in India, its present and future. Yes. It goes everywhere, into the past, into the present, and into the future. Yes. It goes everywhere. Yes. V.K. Gogag. Very good. V.K. Gogag. And who wrote Pigeon Indian, some notes on Indian English writing. Pigeon Indian, some notes on Indian English writing. I can give you a clue. He wrote Untouchable, he wrote Coolie, he wrote Pigeon Indian. So who wrote? Yes, Mulraj Anand. Mulraj Anand, very good. Mulraj Anand. And who wrote this major work, Mask of Conquest? Mask of Conquest that can be considered as an important work in postcolonial studies. Yes, very good. Gauri Vishwanathan. Gauri Vishwanathan. Yes, very good. Mask of Conquest. That is a work by Gauri Vishwanathan. And can you remember the subtitle of Mask of Conquest? Can you remember the subtitle? Learned it, the subtitle. Because again, you can see how she tried to map this literature study and yes, very good. Literary study and British rule in India. Very good. Literary study and British rule in India. That is a subtitle of Mask of Conquest. Mask of Conquest, many times they've asked questions from Mask of Conquest in terms of the writer, in match the following question, the year of publication. So please remember, this is the subtitle, Literary Study and British Rule in India. Okay. And who wrote The Rhetoric of English India? Who wrote The Rhetoric of English India? Yes. The Rhetoric of English India that got published in the year 1992. And again, another major work written by her, that is Meatless Days. Yes. Sarah Sileria Goodyear. Yes. Sarah Sileria Goodyear. Very good. Yes. And who wrote Outside the Fold? Radical Re-examination of Religious Conversion. Outside the Folds. Who wrote this work? Very good. Who wrote Mask of Conquest? And this is also another major text by Gauri Vishwanathan. Yes. Outside the Folds. Okay. So please remember. And who wrote this essay, Burden of English? Who wrote this essay, Burden of English? And you can see how she wrote about teaching of English literature in university academic departments. I can give you a clue. She translated of grammatology to English. So, who wrote The Burden of English? That is also a major essay by Gayatri Chakrabarti Spivak. Yes. And can you remember the subtitle of this work? Because she wrote about education and she wrote about the importance of English education and how it can be associated with the development of English departments. Very good. Yes. An aesthetic education in the era of globalization. Okay, that is the subtitle of The Burden of English. Yes, that is by Gayatri Chakrabarti Spivak. Very good. And who wrote This Gift of English? This Gift of English. And in that particular scholarly work, he made this famous argument, that is, English education continued to be Brahminical or elitist and that largely excluded Dalits. So who wrote Gift of English? Alok Mukherjee. Very good. Alok Mukherjee. Yes. Alok Mukherjee. Yes. Yeah. So who was the first European to translate Kalidasa's Abhignana Shakuntalam to English? First European to translate Kalidasa's Abhignana Shakuntalam to English? Yes. William Jones. William Jones. Very good. And who first translated Bhagavad Gita to English? Who first translated Bhagavad Gita to English? Yes, don't get confused with these writers. Charles Wilkins, he first translated Bhagavad Gita to English and he was also one of the founding members of Royal Asiatic Society. Yes, Charles Wilkins. Very good. And who first made a complete translation of Ramayana to English? First European. He was a professor of English literature in one of the most prestigious institutes in Benares. Ralph T.H. Griffith. Very good. Ralph T.H. Griffith. And who first translated Rigveda to English? Rigveda to English? Horace Hayman Wilson. Yes, Horace Hayman Wilson. Yes. And he also made a famous translation of Kalidasa's Mekhaduta. Mekhaduta or Cloud Messenger. Yeah, Cloud Messenger. Yes. Horace Hayman Wilson. Very good. And who wrote this famous essay on translating Kalidasa? On translating Kalidasa, that is again a major essay written by who was associated with this weekly newspaper Karmayogin, and who wrote this mystic poem Rose of God, and who wrote this essay on translating Kalidasa? Yes, Sri Aurobindo. Very good. Sri Aurobindo. Yes, Sri Aurobindo. Yes. And who translated Mahashweta Devi's works, particularly imaginary maps, breast stories from Bengali language to English? Yes. Gayatri Chakrabarti Spivak. Very good. Gayatri Chakrabarti Spivak. She translated Mahashweta Devi's imaginary maps to English, then Mahashweta Devi's breast stories to English. And of course, she made this famous translation of Derrida's of grammatology to English. So remember, she is again an important translator as well. Okay, so if you can eliminate certain options based on certain words, please remember Gayatri Chakrabarti Spivak. She is also an important translator as well. Okay, so who translated Perumal Murugan's Madhurobhagan to English? Remember, for which he won the Sahitya Academy Award for translation. Yes, Perumal Murugan, as you all know, again an important regional writer, again an important Tamil writer who writes about important areas in literature. Yes, Anirudhan Vasudevan. Very good. Very good. And who is associated with Nai Kahani movement? That can be considered a new story of literary movement. And can you remember? Yes, Nai Kahani movement. Yes, Mohan Rakesh. Very good. Mohan Rakesh. Yes. And who translated U.R. Anandamurthy's Samskara to English? Who translated U.R. Anandamurthy's novel Samskara, which is originally written in Kannada language, to English? A.K. Ramanujan. Very good. And can you remember the name of the central character? Can you remember the name of the central character in Samskara? Pranishcharya. Very good. And who translated Badal Sarkar's Evam Indrajit to English? Yes. Very good. Girish Karnad. Yes, Girish Karnad. And who translated Red Samadhi to English? Red Samadhi, remember? That became the first novel translated from an Indian language to win the International Booker Prize. So, remember Geetanjali Shri, who wrote Red Samadhi and translated by Daisy Rockwell. Yes. Tomb of Sand. Very good. Tomb of Sand. Very good. Yes. And who wrote The Well of the People? The Well of the People. Well of the People, that is written in poetic form. And you can see the influence of Gandhian philosophy. And it is again based on a real story. And she can be considered as one of the earliest woman playwrights. Very good. Bharati Sarabhai. The Well of the People. And who wrote Two Women? That is again a PYQ. Well of the People? Yes. Bharati Sarabhai. And Two Women, remember, that is written in prose form. And these two, Well of the People and Two Women, they are plays written by Bharati Sarabhai, and Two Women, that is written in prose form. Very good. Yes. Bharati Sarabhai. Yeah. Two Women in prose form. And who wrote the unfinished novel Bianca or the Young Spanish Maiden? Bianca or the Young Spanish Maiden. Remember? Yes. Torudat. Very good. Torudat. And who wrote Saguna? Which is subtitled A Story of Native Christian Life. A Story of Native Christian Life. And she can be considered as first Indian woman author of an autobiographical novel in English. Kripabai Satyanandan. Very good. Kripabai Satyanandan. Yes, very good. And who wrote this patriotic poem, Harp of India? Who wrote this patriotic poem, Harp of India? Remember? Yes, Henry de Rossio. Very good. Henry de Rossio. Remember, that is written in Petrarchan form. Petrarchan form. Very good. Petrarchan sonnet. And who created this character, Nulini? Remember Nulini? Nulini, who is a Brahmin widow. And the poem is about this two star-crossed lovers. Yes, Henry de Rossio. Very good. Henry de Rossio. And who wrote this epic, Meghnath Bath Kavya? Who wrote this epic, Meghnath Bath Kavya? That is again based on Ramayana. There you can find it is narrated through the perspective of Ravana's son Meghnada. Michael Madhusudan Dutt. Very good. Michael Madhusudan Dutt. And who wrote this narrative poem, The Captive Lady? It is written under the pseudonym Timothy Pen Poem. Michael Madhusudan Dutt. Very good. Michael Madhusudan Dutt. And who wrote this poem, Lakshman? It is written in the form of a conversation between Sita and Lakshman. And there you can see how this poet tries to humanize Lakshman. Toru Dutt, very good. Toru Dutt. And who is known for writing historical novels such as The Slave Girl of Agra, The Lake of Palms? Can you remember the writer? R.C. Dutt, very good. Ramesh Chandra Dutt. Yes, R.C. Dutt, very good. And whose autobiography is titled My Boyhood Days? I can give you a clue. He had also written another major work, major autobiographical work, that is Jeevan Smriti, My Reminiscences. And this is again a memoir written by him while he was in his 80s. Rabindranath Tagore, very good. And who wrote biographies on Rabindranath Tagore titled Rabindranath Tagore, His Life and Work, Rabindranath Tagore, Poet and Dramatist? Again, a colonial writer. He was a colonial writer. Remember? Edward Thompson, very good. Edward Thompson. Yes. Can you remember the name of the publishing house associated with the publication of Geetanjali? The same publishing house that also published the autobiography of an unknown Indian and is also known for publishing works such as Alice in Wonderland. Remember? Macmillan. Yes, Macmillan. And can you remember the year associated with the publication of Geetanjali, like English translation of Geetanjali? 1913. 1913, yes. And in English translation, you can find 103 poems. And in the original Bengali version, how many poems are there in the original Bengali version? 157. Very good. 157. And who wrote this one-act play, Chitra, which is based on Mahabharata? Chitra, that is again a one-act play written by Rabindranath Tagore. And who wrote this epic, Savitri, that is also based on Mahabharata? Sri Aurobindo, yes, Sri Aurobindo. And who wrote Muktadara? That is, you can find political elements in this work. Yes, Rabindranath Tagore, yes. Who was associated with this weekly newspaper, Satyagraha? Satyagraha. Remember? Mahatma Gandhi, very good. And who edited this Gujarati monthly Navjeevan? Mahatma Gandhi, very good. Yes. And which work by Mahatma Gandhi is written in the form of a dialogue between reader and editor? Editor and reader, yes. Hind Swaraj, very good. Hind Swaraj. And who translated the story of my experiments with truth from Gujarati to English? PYQ again. Mahadev Desai, very good. Mahadev Desai. Who wrote this Scandinavian romance, Eric? Remember? Eric, that is again a Scandinavian romance, that is a play written by Sri Aurobindo. Yes, Sri Aurobindo. What is the subtitle of Savitri? What is the subtitle of Savitri? Legend and a Symbol. Very good. And can you remember the first poetry collection written by Sarojini Naidu? First poetry collection written by Sarojini Naidu? Golden Threshold. Very good. Golden Threshold. And who wrote the poetry collection Feather of the Dawn? Yes, Sarojini Naidu. Sarojini Naidu. And who wrote Indian Philosophy, that is written in 2 volumes? And First volume appeared in 1923 and the second in 1927. Dr. S. Radhakrishnan, very good. Dr. S. Radhakrishnan, who wrote Religion and Society? Religion and Society. That is also a non-fictional work by Dr. S. Radhakrishnan. Yes. And who wrote Culture and Society? Raymond Williams. Yes. That got published in the year 1958. The same year in which Things Fall Apart got published. The same year in which, yes, The Guide got published. Yes. Very good. And what is the sequel to Autobiography of an Unknown Indian? What is the sequel to Autobiography of an Unknown Indian? Thy Hand Great Anarch. Very good. Thy Hand Great Anarch. And who won the Sahitya Academy Award for this long poem Relationship that is written in 12 sections? And the epigraph is taken from Walt Whitman's Song of Myself. Can you remember the writer? Odisha writer Jayanta Mahapatra. Remember? Yes, who wrote Reign of Rights and who wrote this poem Hunger? Yes, Jayanta Mahapatra. Yes. And Hunger is part of which poetry collection? Hunger, Dawn at Puri. These are all part of which poetry collection? Reign of Rights. Very good. Reign of Rights. Yes. And who wrote this autobiographical poem, Background Casually? Who wrote this autobiographical poem, Background Casually, that can be considered as a commissioned poetic autobiography where he describes his childhood, school days. Yeah, how he got bullied in school because he belonged to this minority community, Ben Israel community. Remember? Yes, Nazim Ezekiel. Yes. And who wrote Poet Lover Bird Watcher? The best poets wait for words. Nazim Ezekiel. Very good. Nazim Ezekiel. And who wrote Night of the Scorpion? Night of the Scorpion by Nazim Ezekiel. And who wrote Day of the Scorpion? Day of the Scorpion. Remember Day of the Scorpion? We studied. Yeah. Paul Scott. Very good. Paul Scott. And who wrote this poem, Goodbye Party for Miss Pushpa T.S.? Nazim Ezekiel. And that is part of which poetry collection? Hymns in Darkness. Very good. And who wrote this essay, Naipaul's India and Mine? Yes. Very good. And who wrote this poetry collection, Jejuri? Jejuri is a poetry collection by Arun Joshi or Arun Kolatkar. Remember? Arun Kolatkar. Yes. Jejuri, that is a poetry collection by Arun Kolatkar. Remember? Yes, yeah, Chaitanya series of poems that is also part of this poetry collection. It consists of 31 poems. Very good. And he won the Commonwealth Writers Prize for this poetry collection, Jejuri. Very good. And who wrote this poetry collection, A Whiteness of Born? A Whiteness of Born. There you can see themes include landscape, time, and contemporary reality. And I can give you a clue. He wrote Reign of Rights. He wrote Relationship. Jayanta Mahapatra. Yes. Whiteness of Born. That is a poetry collection by Jayanta Mahapatra. Very good. And can you remember the debut poetry collection by A.K. Ramanujan? Debut poetry collection by A.K. Ramanujan. The Striders. Striders. Yes. And can you tell me the first poetry collection by Kamala Das? That got published in the year 1965, and her most important poems such as An Introduction, My Grandmother's House, all these are part of this poetry collection. So can you remember this poetry collection? Somewhere in Calcutta, Somewhere in Calcutta. And who wrote this poem to Calcutta, a long poem that's written by? Who wrote this poem to Calcutta, a long poem? I can give you a clue. He established Writers' Workshop in Calcutta in 1958. Yes, Purushottam from Calcutta, a long poem that is a poem by Purushottam. And remember, he established Writers' Workshop in Calcutta in 1958. Yes, and who wrote Rough Passage? Who wrote Rough Passage? That is again a long poem, and it is divided into 3 sections: exile, trial, and homecoming. R. Parthasarathi. Very good. R. Parthasarathi. Yes. R. Parthasarathi. And who made a famous translation of this Tamil epic Chilappatikaram to English? Remember? And he also edited this popular anthology, 10 20th century Indian poets. R. Parthasarathi. Very good. R. Parthasarathi. Yes. R. Parthasarathi. Who wrote this poetry collection? The Keeper of the Dead, for which he won the Sahitya Academy Award. Yes. He was also one among the Parsi Quartet, along with Adil Jusawala, K.D. Katrak, and Geef Patel. Remember? K.K. and Daruwala. Yes. K.K. and Daruwala. Yeah. And who wrote Mapmaker? K.K. and Daruwala. Who wrote Mappings? Vikram Seth. Yes, Vikram Seth. And who wrote the poetry collection These Errors Are Correct? These Errors Are Correct. That is again a major poetry collection by Jeet Tail. And can you remember the name of the poet who revived this ghazal form in post-independent poetry? Call Me Ishmael Tonight. That is again a major poetry collection by, very good, Aga Shahid Ali. And who wrote The Country Without a Post Office? The Country Without a Post Office, Nostalgia's Map of America. All these are poetry collections by Aga Shahid Ali. Remember, he was a Kashmiri born American poet. And who wrote the poetry collection House of a Thousand Doors? House of a Thousand Doors. And she has written novels such as Nampally Road, Manhattan Music. Remember? Meena Alexander. Yes. Are you all enjoying this session on Indian literature? Are you able to answer these questions? Yes. Who wrote Asylum and Other Poems? Asylum and Other Poems. Yes. Asylum and Other Poems. That is by, remember who wrote M and the Big Who? Jerry Pinto. Very good. Yes.
Good evening, everyone. How are you? How's the session going? Are you able to answer? How are you feeling? Is it interesting? How is it? Hi. Good evening. How is it going? Are you liking it? How is it? It is not to make you tense. It is just to make you remember things. Okay. Even if you don't remember all of it, just listen to it. Yes? Okay. Yeah. So we'll start with Indian drama. We'll start from post-independence Indian drama. So my first question to you is, who is associated with the theater of the people? He is the person who founded the new Naya theater or the new theater. It is Habib Tanvir. He is the founder of Naya theater or new theater, which came up in 1959. Okay. Yes. So tell me, yeah, Badal Sirkar is also associated with People's Theatre. He is also a part of People's Theatre. Okay. Now tell me, who wrote Evam Indrajit? Who wrote Evam Indrajit? It is Badal Sirkar. When was it published? When was it published? It was published in 1963. 1963, correct. Okay. So, there is this author who wrote works like Mother of 1084, Bayin, Draupadi, Rudali. All of these are works of Mahashweta Devi. Now tell me, which one came first, Mother of 1084 or Bayin? Which one came first? It is Mother of 1084. Mother of 1084 came first, published in 1974. Bayin was published in 1976. Okay. Where do we have the character Dopti? In which work do we have the character Dopti? It is from Draupadi. Draupadi is one of the 3 stories in which collection? Draupadi is a part of which collection? It is a part of Breast Givers. Very good. It is a part of Breast Givers, which was published in 1997. How do we know the year 1997? How are we familiar with the year 1997? God of Small Things. God of Small Things was published in 1997. Harvest was also published in 1997. Who wrote Harvest? Who wrote Harvest? It is Manjula Padmanabhan wrote Harvest. It was published in 1997. Okay. Now tell me, where do we have the character Leela Banare? Leela Banare is a character from Silence the Courtesan Session. When was it published? In 1967. In 1967. Who wrote Silence the Courtesan Session? Vijay Tendulkar. Vijay Tendulkar. Silence the Courtesan Session is a part of New Indian Drama Movement. Is that true? It is a part of the New Indian Drama Movement. That is correct. Yes. Sukatme is a character from Silence the Courtesan Session. Is that true? That is also true. Okay. When was Sakaram Binder published? When was it published? It was published in 1972. Sakaram Binder came out in 1972. Silence the Courtesan Session came out in 1967. Bain was published in 1976. Mother of 1084 was published in 1974. Which is the work that we talked about which was published in 1997? 1997. The person who wrote Mother of 1084, it is The Breast Givers. The Breast Giver. That is correct. Yes. Okay. Now tell me, who wrote the play titled Goa? Who wrote the play titled Goa? It is Asif Karimboy. It is Asif Karimboy. That is correct. Asif Karimboy wrote a play which is about the city of Calcutta. Which is this play? It talks about the city of Calcutta in the 1960s. Which play am I talking about? Is it The Refugee? Is it Goa? Is it The Hungry Ones? Which is it? It is, I can give you options. Refugee, Goa, The Hungry Ones. Which one is about the city of Calcutta? It is The Hungry Ones. The Hungry Ones is a play by Asif Karimboy which talks about Calcutta. Summer in Calcutta is a work of which author? Summer in Calcutta? That is Kamala Das, correct. Okay. Yes, okay. Now tell me, who wrote the play titled Refugee? Who wrote the play titled Refugee? That is Asif Karimboy. Is there a poem titled The Refugee Blues? Who wrote it? It is W.H. Auden. W.H. Auden wrote The Refugee Blues. Okay. Which one came first? Yayati or Hayavadana? Hayati or Hayavadana? It is Yayati. Yayati was published in 1961. How do we know the year 1961? It is, which other work was published? It is The Wretched of the Earth was published in 1961. Long Revolution was published in 1961. Yayati was also in 1961. The Prime of Miss Jean Brodie was also in 1961. Naples House for Mr. Biswas was also in 1961. So remember 1961. Okay, Man-Eater of Malgudi was also in 1961. So remember 61, that is an important year. Okay. So do you remember all these works? There are a lot of works published in 1961. Okay. Now tell me. Yes, okay. Which of the works of Girish Karnad opens with a mask of Ganesha? It has a meta-fictional opening with the mask of Ganesha. It is Hayavadana. That is correct. It is Hayavadana. Correct. When was it performed? When was it performed? In 1971. Do we know any work of V.S. Naipaul published in 71? Did he publish a work in 1971? In a Free State. Yes, In a Free State was published in 1971. That is very good. I'm so glad that you remember all of this. In a Free State came out in 1971. Hayavadana was also performed in 1971. Remember that. Now tell me, in Hayavadana, the characters go to a temple. The temple is of which deity? The temple belongs to which deity? The characters visit the temple of Kali. That is where their heads transpose. Yes, the temple of Kali. Correct. There is a doll's conversation that happens within the play. Is that true? Yes, that is also correct. Okay. Appanna and Naga are characters from which work? Appanna and Naga are characters from which work? It is from Nagamandala. It is from Nagamandala. Hayavadana has taken a lot of inspiration from a particular work of Thomas Mann. What is the title of this work? It is the Transposed Heads. Transposed Heads. That is correct. Now, this particular tale is also found in Somadeva's Dash. It is also taken from Kada Sarit Sagara. Katha Sarit Sagara. That is correct. It is an ancient collection of stories. Katha Sarit Sagara. So this tale is taken from Katha Sarit Sagara. Okay. Now tell me, who wrote The Fire and the Rain? The Fire and the Rain. That is Girish Karnad. It was performed in 1998. 1998. Okay. Who wrote the work titled Sons Must Die? Sons Must Die. It is Uma Parameshwaran. Uma Parameshwaran. She was the founder of Dash. It is famous. It is also a PYQ. What is the full form of Pali or PALI? It is Performing Arts and Literature of India. Performing Arts and Literature of India is called Pali or PALI. Uma Parameshwaran is the founder of Pali. Remember that. Okay. Now, Mangoes on a Maple Tree is a play by which author? Mangoes on a Maple Tree. It is Uma Parameshwaran. Correct. Okay. Lights Out or Harvest? Which one was performed first? Lights Out or Harvest? We know Harvest came out in 1997, which is same as God of Small Things. Lights Out was published in 1984. Lights Out came out in 1984. Harvest came after that in 1997. Okay. Which of these works of Manjula Padmanabhan is about violence against women? Which is her work which talks about the violence against women? That is Lights Out. That is Lights Out. Okay. Which work talks about the flesh market in the Western world? Harvest is about the flesh market. Correct. Okay. Where do we have the characters? Jairaj Parekh. Jairaj Parekh is a character from Dance Like a Man. Dance Like a Man. Who wrote Dance Like a Man? It is Mahesh Dattani. Mahesh Dattani. Where there is a will, Dance Like a Man, Tara. Which one came last? Where there is a will, Dance Like a Man, Tara. Okay, let's take it from the beginning. Where There Is a Will came out in 1988. Dance Like a Man came 1 year after that in 1989. Tara was published in 1990. Do you know any other work which came out in 1990? Think about Judith Butler, 1990. Which work? The famous work of Judith Butler, Gender Trouble, came out in 1990. Any other work? Gender Trouble came out in 1990. Tara came out in 1990. Homi Bhabha's Nation and Narration was also in 1990. Yes, correct. So remember 1990. That is also an important year. Okay. All these came out in 1990. Okay. Masks of Conquest was also in 1990. Sure. Oh, Masks of Conquest came out in 1989. Okay. Yes, correct. Masks of Conquest came out in 1989, which is same as Dance Like a Man. So remember this. The Great Indian Novel was published in? The Great Indian Novel was published in which year? That was also in which year? Great Indian Novel. That was in 1989. Yes. That was also in 1989. So remember 1990, 1989, lot of works were published in these years. Okay. Now, in Dance Like a Man, there is a particular dance form that is described. Which is this dance form? Which dance form are we talking about? Is it Kuchipudi? Is it Bharatanatyam? What is it? It is Bharatanatyam. Correct. Okay. Which work of Mahesh Dattani talks about conjoined twins? Which one is about the conjoined twins? It is Tara. It talks about Chandan and Tara. Yes, correct. In which work do we have the characters Jitin, Nitin, Alka, Lalita? These are all characters from Jitin, Nitin, Alka, Lalita, Sridhar. All of these are characters from Bravely Fought the Queen. Bravely Fought the Queen, correct. There is this one work of Mahesh Dattani which talks about the communal conflicts between the Hindu and Muslim communities. Which work am I talking about? It is The Final Solutions. The Final Solutions came out in 1993. Final Solutions was published in 1993. Correct. Now, where do we have the character Kamala, who is a trans woman? Kamala is a character from Seven Circles Round the Fire. Seven Circles Round the Fire. Kamala is a character from Seven Circles Round the Fire. Correct. Okay. So when was Harvest performed? Harvest came out in 1997. Seven Circles Round the Fire came out in 1998. Seven Circles Round the Fire is by Mahesh Dattani. Okay. When was Lights Out performed? Lights Out came out in 1984. When was Mother of 1084 published? In 1974. Buy-In came out in 1976. Gender Trouble was published in 1990. Nation and Narration 1990. Correct. Okay. Are you able to remember all of this? Are you able to remember? Yes? Okay. So tell me, where do we have the character Kamalesh? This particular work talks about the LGBTQIA plus community. It is the On a Muggy Night in Mumbai. On a Muggy Night in Mumbai, which came out in 1998. 1998. Correct. Final Solutions came out in 1993. 1993. On a Muggy Night in Mumbai came out in 1998. Okay. A Dance Between Love and Death is the subtitle of which work? A Dance Between Love and Death is the subtitle of Brief Candle. The character Mala who has a traumatized childhood. She is a character from which work? Mala is a character from 30 Days in September. 30 Days in September, Brief Candle. Which one came first? Which one came first? It is 30 Days in September. It came out in 2001. Brief Candle came out in 2009. Okay. So which work talks about cancer, the cancer patients? It is the Brief Candle. Brief Candle is about cancer patients. Okay. Now, we have characters like Vikas, Shanti, Amarinder. All of these are characters from Brief Candle. It came out in which year? Which year? It is 2009. 2009. Which author are we talking about? Who are we talking about? It is Mahesh Dattan. Okay. Which is his first play? Which is his first play? Where There Is a Will, which came out in 1988. 1988. Correct. One of his plays was adapted as a film titled Mango Souffle. Which work is it? On a Muggy Night in Mumbai. On a Muggy Night in Mumbai. Which work is about cancer patients? Which work is about cancer patients? That is Brief Candle. Which work is about Kamalesh, about the LGBTQIA plus community? It is On a Muggy Night in Mumbai. It was made into a film. What is the title of this film? It is Mango Souffle. Correct. Okay. Now, let me also ask you some other questions. Tell me, who wrote the work titled The Perishable Empire? Who wrote The Perishable Empire? That is Minakshi Mukherjee. Minakshi Mukherjee, correct. Okay. Now, English August is a work of which writer? English August. It is Upamanyu Chatterjee. Upamanyu Chatterjee. That is correct. Okay. Mulraj Anand is associated with which group, which association? Mulraj Anand. Is it the Young Bengal movement? Is it the Progressive Writers Association? Is it the Parsi Quartet? I've given you options. Mulraj Anand is a part of the Progressive Writers Association. Who are the authors associated with the Parsi Quartet? The people associated with Parsi Quartet. It is Adil Jussawala, K.D. Kathrak, Jeev Patel. Who's the fourth one? It is Arun Kulatkar. No. Arun Kulatkar is not a part. Adil Jussawala, K.D. Kathrak, Jeev Patel, K.K. and Daruwala. Yes. Adil Jussawala, K.D. Kathrak, Jeev Patel, K.K. and Daruwala. All of them are together known as the Parsi Quartet. Okay. Now tell me. A.K. Mehrotra, Adil Jussawala, Jeev Patel, Arun Kulatkar. These four writers are associated with a poetry publishing house. What is the name of this house? It is Clearing House. It is the Clearing House. Correct. Okay. Now, who wrote the play titled Khashiram Khotwal? The play titled Khashiram Khotwal. That is Vijay Tendulkar. That is Vijay Tendulkar. Yes. We're not stopping Indian literature. We'll continue the questions from IL. Okay. We can have a few minutes break after this. Okay. Now tell me. Which one came first? Silence the Courtesan Session or Yayati? Which one came first? Silence the Courtesan Session or Yayati? Yayati came out in 1961. Silence the Courtesan Session came out in 1967. Nagamandala is a work of, who wrote it? It is Girish Karnad. When was it? When did it come out? In 1990. Nagamandala came out in 1990. Appanna is a character from Nagamandala. Okay, that is correct. When was Evam Indrajit performed for the first time? Evam Indrajit came out in 1963. 1963. Okay. Let me ask you. The first complete Indian English translation of Valmiki's Ramayana was done by whom? These are all questions from our last minute revision book. I hope you have it. Yes, we have it in our encyclopedia as well as this new book. Yes, okay. Who wrote it? It is Ralph T.H. Griffith. Who did the first complete translation of Mahabharata into English? The first complete translation of Mahabharata into English. Charles Wilkins. Yes. Okay. Now tell me. Let me ask you another question. Brief Candle by Mahesh Dattani is a play. Is that true? Yes. Sure. Okay. Is it? Yes, that is correct. Okay. Now tell me. Arundhati Roy. Yes, 1 second. The first translation of Mahabharata into English, is it by K.M. Ganguly? 1 second. It is by K.M. Ganguly. Charles Wilkins has also done it, but the first translation was by K.M. Ganguly. Okay. Kisori Mohan Ganguly. Please take a note of it. Charles Wilkins had also done it, but the first translation was K.M. Ganguly. You can have questions like which of these figures have not translated Mahabharata? That can be a question. Okay. Yes. So how is it going? Are you able to remember? Is it helping you? Am I confusing you? Yes? Okay. Okay. So you can take a few minutes break and then we will continue with Indian literature. Okay. Take a short break, take a few minutes break. Yes, that is Charles Wilkins. We can continue from 7-4. Start your break now. We can start from 7-4 or 7-5. Yeah. Yes. Okay. We'll start from 7-5. Take a short break, take a quick walk, drink some water. We will have IL now and then we will start with BL.
All right. So, good evening, everyone. Right, let's start. Let me mute all of you, all right? Okay. Who is known as the Charles Dickens of India? Who is known as the Charles Dickens of India? Mulraj Anand. Mulraj Anand. Mulraj Anand was born in which year? Mulraj Anand was born in which year? 1905. 1905. Which was his debut novel? Which was his debut novel? Untouchable. Untouchable. Is it a circadian novel? Is it a circadian novel? Yes, it is a circadian novel. Circadian novel. Okay. Prabha Dayal's pickle factory in Bilashpur is there in which novel? Prabha Dayal's pickle factory is there in which novel? Coolie. Coolie was published in which year? Coolie was published in which year? 1936. 1936. Which novel of Mulraj Anand is set in Assam tea plantation? Which work of Mulraj Anand is set in Assam tea plantation? Two Lives and a Bud, published in 1937. Two Lives and a Bud, published in 1937. Who wrote The Old Woman and the Cow? The Old Woman and the Cow is by Mulraj Anand. Mulraj Anand. The Barbers' Trade Union was published in which year? The Barbers' Trade Union was published in 1944. 1944. All right. Lalu trilogy has which novels? Which novels are there in the Lalu trilogy? The Village, Across the Black Waters, and The Sword and the Sickle. The Village, Across the Black Waters, and The Sword and the Sickle. Mulraj Anand wrote Conversations in Dash. Mulraj Anand wrote Conversations in Bloomsbury. Conversations in Bloomsbury. Okay, right? Okay. Tell me, I will describe to you some works. You tell me which works are these. All right. This work depicts a South Indian village's transformation under Gandhian influence, and it is narrated in the oral style of Sthala Purana. Which work is it? It is Kanthapura. Kanthapura, published in 1938. 1938. It's a metaphysical novel where truth is likened to a rope and illusion to a serpent, drawing from Advaita Vedanta's rope snake analogy. The Serpent and the Rope. The Serpent and the Rope, published in 1960. 1960. Who said that the Indian novelists must express the rhythm of Indian life and speech in English, comparing Indian English to not the English of the English, but the tempo of our own speech? Who said this? It was Raja Rao. Raja Rao said this in foreword to Kanthapura. Raja Rao said this in his foreword to Kanthapura. Okay, right? Yes. Next, tell me, which is a comic philosophical narrative or novel in which a municipal clerk uses the cat principle, a metaphor for surrender, to navigate life's uncertainties? The Cat and Shakespeare. The Cat and Shakespeare. It was published in which year? The Cat and Shakespeare was published in which year? The Cat and Shakespeare, A Tale of India, was published in 1965. 1965. Okay, subtitles are also important. The Cat and Shakespeare, A Tale of Modern India. Okay, right. Next, who wrote My Days, a Memoir? Who wrote My Days, a Memoir? R.K. Narayan. R.K. Narayan. Okay. I will ask you the years now. Tell me the years of these works. The Bachelor of Arts. Years. The Bachelor of Arts. Correct. Yes. The Bachelor of Arts, 1937. 1937. The English teacher. The English teacher. The English teacher by R.K. Narayan, 1945. 1945. The Dark Room is by R.K. Narayan. Who wrote The Dark Dancer? Who wrote The Dark Dancer? Balachandra Rajan. Balachandra Rajan. Is that a partition novel? Is that a partition novel? Yes. Who wrote Kholdo, a partition short story? Who wrote Kholdo? Sadat Hasan Manto. Sadat Hasan Manto wrote the short story Kholdo, which is on partition. Okay, right. Next, tell me, The Financial Expert was published in which year? The Financial Expert was published in which year? 1952. Same year as Frantz Fanon's. The Financial Expert, same year as Frantz Fanon's. Black Skin, White Masks. Black Skin, White Masks. Both these works were published in the same year, 1952. 1952. Okay? All right. Malgudi Cricket Club is formed by whom? Who formed the Malgudi Cricket Club? Rajam. Rajam. Waiting for the Mahatma. Published in Waiting for the Mahatma, 1955. 1955. Who wrote Waiting for the Barbarians? Who wrote Waiting for the Barbarians? That's by J.M. Coetzee. J.M. Coetzee. The guide was published in 1958. 1958. Did this work get any award? Did this work get any award? Which award? Sahitya Academy Award. Sahitya Academy Award. Okay. Bhasmasura myth has been employed in which work of Narayan? Bhasmasura myth. Correct. The Man-Eater of Malgudi. The Man-Eater of Malgudi. Published in the same year as The Wretched of the Earth. Yes, then Theatre of the Absurd by Martin Esslin. The Long Revolution. Correct. So the year is 1961. Which partition novel was published in the same year? Sunlight on a Broken Column by Atiya Hussain. Sunlight on a Broken Column by Atiya Hussain, published in the same year. Yes, 1961. 1961. K.V. Jagan is a character in which work? K.V. Jagan is a character in which work? The Vendor of Sweets. The Vendor of Sweets. Was he a follower of Mahatma Gandhi? Was he a follower of Mahatma Gandhi? Yes. Yes. Tell me one more character who was a follower of Gandhi. One more character who was a follower of Gandhi. Murthy. Murthy from Kanthapura. Murthy from Kanthapura. Okay. Daisy, a woman involved with family planning, is a character from Daisy, a woman involved with family planning, is a character from The Painter of Science. The Painter of Science. The World of Nagraj was published in 1990. 1990. A Horse and Two Goats and Other Stories is a collection of short stories by, it's a PYQ. A Horse and Two Goats and Other Stories. It's a collection of short stories by R.K. Narayan. R.K. Narayan. Which a river is almost like a character in his works? Which river? River Sarayu. A river Sarayu. And which character is very important in the works of Mark Twain? Which river is very important there? Mississippi River. Mississippi River. Okay, correct. Okay. Next, tell me, who is the narrator of Kanthapura? Who is the narrator of Kanthapura? Achakka. Achakka. Correct. Skeffington Coffee Estate is there in? Skeffington Coffee Estate is there in Kanthapura. Kanthapura. Okay. Madeline is a character in? Madeline is a character in? Correct. The Serpent and the Rope. The Serpent and the Rope. Okay. Correct. In which work do we find the idea of a three-storied house? But the three stories stand for the three stages of consciousness: Jagrata, Swapna, and Sushupti. The Cat and Shakespeare. The Cat and Shakespeare. Comrade Kilirov was published in which year? Comrade Kilirov was published in which year? Comrade Kilirov was published in 1976. 1976. Okay, now we have come to again a very important author, and his chronology is very important. So I am telling you all the works one by one, and you will tell me the years. Okay? So Many Hungers. So Many Hungers. 1947. 1947. Music for Mohini. 1952. Same year as which work we talked about? Which novel we talked about? That was published in the same year. The Financial Expert. The Financial Expert. And Music for Mohini. Both were published in the same year, 1952. He Who Rides a Tiger was published in? He Who Rides a Tiger was published in 1954. 1954. Waiting for Mahatma was 1955. Waiting for Mahatma was 1955. Okay. Goddess Named Gold was published in same year as The Serpent and the Rope. The Goddess Named Gold, published in same year as The Serpent and the Rope. 1960. 1960. Shadow from Ladakh, very important work. Tell me, when was it published? Shadow from Ladakh, 1966. 1966. Again, So Many Hungers, 1947. So Many Hungers, 1947. Music for Mohini, 1952. Music for Mohini, 1952. He Who Rides a Tiger. 2 years later, 1954. Goddess Named Gold, same as Serpent and the Rope, 1960. And then we have Shadow from Ladakh, 1966. 1966. You won't forget the order now, right? Yes, there is. Please follow the years which are there in Wikipedia and Google, okay? Who wrote The Silver Pilgrimage? Who wrote The Silver Pilgrimage? M. Ananta Narayan. M. Ananta Narayan. Correct. All About H. Hatter is by All About H. Hatter. Published in 1948 is by G.V. Desani. G.V. Desani. Hali is a poetic play by Hali is a poetic play by G.V. Desani. G.V. Desani. Correct. Okay. Was Atiya Hussain a part of the Progressive Writers Association? Yes. Yes. Correct. Correct. Again, very important author and very important works. I'm telling you the names of the works and you tell me the names of the, not names, the years. Okay. A Bend in the Ganges by Manohar Malonkar. A Bend in the Ganges. 1964. 1964. Distant Drum, same year as The Serpent and the Rope. Distant Drum, 1960. 1960. Okay. A Bend in the Ganges talks about partition. True or false? Yes. Yes, it does. Okay. I Am Not an Island is an autobiographical work by, this question has been asked many times in many exams. I Am Not an Island is an autobiographical work by K.A. Abbas. K.A. Abbas. Okay. Next, tell me. Truth, Love, and a Little Malice. It is an autobiographical work by Truth, Love, and Little Malice. It is an autobiographical work by Khushwant Singh. Khushwant Singh. Mano Majra is a village in Mano Majra is a village in Train to Pakistan 1956. Train to Pakistan 1956. Inside the Haveli is a work by Inside the Haveli is a work by Rama Mehta. Rama Mehta. Is Nectar in a Sieve a novel of 1954? Nectar in a Sieve, 1954. Yes. Yes. Correct. Prison and Chocolate Cake is a memoir by Prison and Chocolate Cake is a memoir by Nayantara Sehgal. Nayantara Sehgal. Which novel got the Sahitya Academy Award in 1977? Which novel got the Sahitya Academy Award in 1977? Azadi. Azadi by Chaman Nahal. Azadi by Chaman Nahal. To Whom She Will was the debut novel of To Whom She Will was the debut novel of Ruth Prawar Jhabwala. Ruth Prawar Jhabwala. Delinquent Chacha was published in which year? Delinquent Chacha of Ved Mehta was published in which year? Yes. Ved Mehta's Delinquent Chacha was published in 1991. 1991. His autobiography is called Face to Face. True or false? His autobiography is called Face to Face. True. Face to Face is also a collection of short stories by Nadine Gordimer. True or false? Yes, correct. Correct. Okay. Who wrote Our Trees Still Grow in Dera? Our Trees Still Grow in Dera. It is by Ruskin Bond. Ruskin Bond. Correct. Do you know the name of his autobiography? What's the name of his autobiography? It came in one of the exams this year. Autobiography of Bond, Ruskin Bond. Lone Fox Dancing. Lone Fox Dancing is an autobiographical work by Ruskin Bond. Ruskin Bond, okay? Lone Fox Dancing. It's an autobiographical work by Bond. Okay, got it? Right. Small Remedies is a work by Small Remedies is a work by Shashi Deshpande. Shashi Deshpande. The Mystic Monsieur was published in The Mystic Monsieur was published in correct 1957. 1957. Gorillas was published in 1975. 1975. Okay. A House for Mr. Biswas, 1961, right? A House for Mr. Biswas, 1961. Okay, okay. A Ralph Singh is a character in Mimic Men. Mimic Men. Okay, now again a very important author. I'm telling you the names of the novels, you tell me the years, because as you know, they will ask lots of questions of chronology from these works and authors. Clear Light of Day. Clear Light of Day. 1980. 1980. Fasting Feasting. Fasting Feasting. 1999. 1999. In Custody. In Custody. 1984. 1984. The Village by the Sea. The Village by the Sea. 1982. 1982. The Artist of Disappearance. The Artist of Disappearance. 2011. 2011. Fire on the Mountain. It even got the Sahitya Academy Award. Fire on the Mountain. 1977. 1977. Okay. Nanda Call is a character in Nanda Call is a character in Fire on the Mountain. Fire on the Mountain. Who wrote The Last Labyrinth? Who wrote The Last Labyrinth? Arun Joshi. Arun Joshi. A River Sutra is a collection of short stories by A River Sutra. It is by Geeta Mehta. Geeta Mehta. Knife is a memoir by Knife is a memoir by Salman Rushdie. Salman Rushdie. Okay. The Moor's Last Sigh is set in Bombay and Cochin. True or false? It is set in Bombay and Cochin. True or false? True. True. Which was the debut novel of Manju Kapoor? Debut novel of Manju Kapoor. Difficult Daughters. Difficult Daughters. Okay. The Trotter Nama, a Chronicle, is a tale of 7 generations of an Anglo-Indian family by The Trotter Nama, a Chronicle. This is by Alan Seeley. Alan Seeley. Correct. Okay. Tell me, is it true that many poems of Mina Alexander talk about the September 11 attack? Yes. Yes. Do you think she has also talked about her experience as a colored woman living in USA after that attack and how it felt like to be a colored woman back then in her memoir, Fault Lines? Is it true? Yes, yes, correct, correct. Mappings is a poetry collection by Mappings is a poetry collection by Vikram Sheth. Vikram Sheth. And my last question to you now, The Thousand Faces of Night. Who wrote it? Thousand Faces of Night, Geeta Hariharan. Geeta Hariharan. All right.
So I hope everything is going well. So the next question is, when was Such a Long Journey published? Who wrote Such a Long Journey? Who wrote Such a Long Journey? That is Rohinton Mistry. When was Such a Long Journey published? Such a Long Journey was published in 1991. 1991. Is there any other work published in 1991? Any other work? Such a Long Journey came out in 1991. Yes. Okay. Think about the other works as well. The Delinquent Chacha was also in 1991. Okay. Now, where do we have the character Dina Dalal? Dina Dalal is a character from Dina Dalal is a character from A Fine Balance. Dina Dalal is a character from A Fine Balance. A Fine Balance was published in 1975. 1975. Yes, okay. 1975. Which work of V.S. Naipaul was published in 75? Is there a work of V.S. Naipaul published in 75? It is The Gorillas. The Gorillas, correct. Okay. Now tell me, which one came first? Family Matters or Fine Balance? Family Matters or Fine Balance? It is A Fine Balance. Fine Balance came out in 1975. Family Matters was published in 2002. 2002. Okay, correct. Now tell me, who wrote the play titled Dungaji House? Dungaji House. He has a name which is similar to Rohinton Mistry. It is Cyrus Mistry. Cyrus Mistry wrote the play titled Dungaji House. Correct. Now, who wrote Brides Are Not for Burning, a play in 2 acts? Who wrote the work titled Brides Are Not for Burning? It is Dina Mehta. Who wrote the work Bride Price? Who wrote the work Bride Price? It is Buchi Emachita. Correct. Which is the work of Dina Mehta, which is based on Tippu Sultan? The work of Dina Mehta based on Tippu Sultan. It is Tiger Tiger. It is Tiger Tiger. Who wrote the poem titled Tiger? The Tiger. That is William Blake. Correct. Yes. Yes. The video will be uploaded. Okay. Now tell me, who wrote works like Socialite Evenings, Starry Nights, Second Thoughts, Speed Post? These are all works of Shobha De. These are all works of Shobha De. Yes, okay. Now tell me, How I Taught My Grandmother to Read and Other Stories is a work of How I Taught My Grandmother to Read and Other Stories. It is Sudha Murthy. It is Sudha Murthy. Okay. 5 Point Someone, One Night at the Call Center, Three Mistakes of My Life. These are all works of Chetan Bhagat. Correct. Okay. Who wrote The Immortals of Meluha? Who wrote The Immortals of Meluha? That is Amish Tripathi. When was it published? When was The Immortals of Meluha published? In 2010. 2010. Correct. When was The Annihilation of Caste published? When was The Annihilation of Caste published? In 1936. In 1936. Waiting for a Visa is the autobiography of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Waiting for Mahatma is a work of Waiting for Mahatma. That is R.K. Narayan. R.K. Narayan. Waiting for Godot is a work of Samuel Beckett. Yes. When I Hit My Caste is a work of who wrote When I Hit My Caste? It is Babu Rao Bagul. Babu Rao Bagul wrote When I Hit My Caste, which was published in 2018. Correct. Now tell me, Vasant Moon was a person who wrote about B.R. Ambedkar. Yes, When I Hit My Caste also had another name. It was translated by Jerry Pinto in the name When I Hit My Caste. Yes, okay. So what was the question? Vasant Moon is a scholar on Ambedkar. Remember that. He wrote the work titled Growing Up Untouchable in India. Growing Up Untouchable in India. Okay. Now tell me, who translated the poems of Namdeo Dasal? Who translated the poems of Namdeo Dasal? Is it Jerry Pinto or is it Dilip Chitra? Who is it? It is Dilip Chitra. Dilip Chitra is the translator of Namdeo Dasal's poems. Correct. Now tell me, what is the autobiography of Om Prakash Valmiki? What is the title of the autobiography of Om Prakash Valmiki? That is Jootan. Jootan. What is the subtitle of Jootan? What is the subtitle of Jootan? A Dalit's Life. A Dalit's Life. When was it published? When was it published? In 1997. Same as that of The God of Small Things and Harvest. Jootan was also in 1997. Correct. Now tell me, who translated the work titled Towards an Aesthetics of Dalit Literature? Towards an Aesthetics of Dalit Literature is a work of Sharan Kumar Limbale. Who translated it? It is Alok Mukherjee. It is Alok Mukherjee. That is correct. History, Controversies, Considerations. This is the subtitle of which work of Limbale? History, Controversies, Considerations is the subtitle of Towards an Aesthetics of Dalit Literature. Correct. Okay. Now tell me, let me ask you another question. There was this bi-monthly English magazine of the Dalit Media Network. It was titled The Dalit. That was the title of this magazine. Who is the famous editor of this magazine? The famous editor of The Dalit, which is a magazine on Dalit Media Network. Who is the editor? She is the one who wrote works like The Gypsy Goddess. It is Meena Kandasamy. Meena Kandasamy is the famous editor of The Dalit. She also wrote The Gypsy Goddess. Okay. Now, the first book of poetry by Meena Kandasamy was titled Touch. This work has a famous foreword from another writer. Who is this other writer? It is Kamala Das. It is Kamala Das. That is correct. Who wrote poems like Mascara, My Lover Speaks of Rape? Mascara and My Lover Speaks of Rape. That is Meena Kandasamy. Correct. Okay. Who wrote the work titled Shadow Lines, Writing on Widowhood? This is a female writer. Listen to the question. It is not Amitav Ghosh's Shadow Lines. Shadow Lines, subtitled Writings on Widowhood. Who is the author of this work? It was co-written with Preeti Gill. It talks about Indian widows. She is also someone who wrote about the Brahmin women. She wrote about the suffer and the situations of women. It is Uma Chakravarti. It is Uma Chakravarti. Correct. Okay. Who is the author of The Weave of My Life? The Weave of My Life. A Dalit woman's memoir. That is Urmila Power. That is Urmila Power. Who co-founded Jaguri, which is a women's group, in 1984? Remember, 1984 is the year in which Lights Out came out. This particular person co-founded Jaguri, which is a women's group, in 1984. Who is this? It is Kamala Bhasan. It is Kamala Bhasan, correct. Who wrote the work titled On the Other Side of Silence? The Other Side of Silence, which is based on partition. It is Urvashi Butalia. Urvashi Butalia. Who wrote In Other Words? In Other Words. Who is it? It is In Other Word. WORDS. Words. Not world. World is Spivak. Word is Urvashi Butalia. Remember, In Other Word is Urvashi Butalia. World is Spivak. Spivak has also written a work with similar title. Okay. Yes. Now tell me, whose work is Staying Alive, Women, Ecology and Development? She is an environmental activist. It is Vandana Shiva. It is Vandana Shiva. She wrote a work titled Ecofeminism, which was co-authored with someone else. With whom? Who is the co-author of Ecofeminism? It is Maria Mais. It is Maria Mais. She is the co-founder of Ecofeminism with Vandana Shiva. Okay. Now tell me, who co-founded Manushi, which is a journal about women and society? The co-founder of Manushi. Manushi. Jaguri is by Kamala Bhasan. Manushi is a journal which was co-founded by Ruth Vanita. Ruth Vanita. That is correct. Yes. Okay. My next question is, let me ask you some questions related to film and literature. Okay. Now, there is this one person. You have to tell me who is this person. So he authored a collection of nonsense verse titled Today Bandha Gorar Him, which includes a translation of Lewis Carroll's Jabberwocky. Which author or which person am I talking about? He is related with film. He is such a prominent figure in film industry. He wrote several humorous stories in Bengali. He has received national film awards. Who am I talking about? It is Satyajit. It is Satyajit, which is his movie based on Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet. The title of the movie, there are several movies. Yes, Kayamat se Kayamat Tak, Gulyon ki Ras Leela, Ram Leela. These are all based on Romeo and Juliet. Yes, these are all movies based on Romeo and Juliet. Okay. Haider is a Hindi movie based on which Shakespearean drama? It is based on Hamlet. Karma Yogi is a Malayalam film based on which Shakespearean drama? Karma Yogi. That is also based on Hamlet. There is a very popular American animation movie. What is the title of this movie based on Hamlet? It is The Lion King. It is The Lion King. Omkara is based on Othello. Omkara is based on Othello. Kaliyattam is a Malayalam film based on Othello. That is correct. Angur is a Hindi movie. It is based on which drama of Shakespeare? It is based on Comedy of Errors. Makbul is inspired from. It is a Hindi movie based on Macbeth. That is correct. Who is the director of Makbul? We have had questions like these in exams. Who is this famous director of Makbul? It is Vishal Bharadwaj. That is correct. Okay. Devdas, the Hindi movie titled Devdas, is based on whose work titled Devdas? Who wrote the work titled Devdas? It is Sharat Chandra Chattopadhyay. The original work titled Devdas, upon which the movie is based, is written by Sharat Chandra Chattopadhyay. Correct. Kannaki is a Malayalam film which is based on which drama of Shakespeare? It is based on two dramas, Antony and Cleopatra as well as Julius Caesar. It is based on Julius Caesar and Antony and Cleopatra. Okay. What is the title of the movie which is based on Emma? The movie based on Emma. It is a Hindi movie. It is titled Aisha. That is correct. Which is the movie which is based on Wuthering Heights? It is a Hindi movie. It is directed by Dilip Kumar. It is a romantic movie based on Wuthering Heights. It is Dil Diya Dard Liya. Dil Diya Dard Liya. It is based on Wuthering Heights. Jhumpa Lahiri wrote the work titled Namesake. When was Namesake published? Think about it. Namesake was published in 2006. Isn't it? Namesake was published in 2006. It was made into a... Is it 2006 or 2003? Namesake came out in 2003. The movie came out in 2006. It is a novel of Jhumpa Lahiri. It was made into a film. Who is the director of this film? Who directed the movie titled Namesake? That is Meera Nair. Correct. Okay. There is a Hindi movie which is based on O. Henry's short story titled The Last Leaf. What is the title of this movie? It is Lutera. Fittur is based on, there is a Hindi movie titled Fittur. Fittur is based on one of the novels of Charles Dickens. Which novel? It is Great Expectations. Correct. Okay. Now, Writing with Fire. Is it a Dalit-centric movie? Writing with Fire. Yes, it is. How is it special? How is it important? It is the first Indian feature documentary. It is a documentary to be nominated for an Academy Award. Remember the title, Writing with Fire, which is about Dalit communities. Okay. Now, there was this LGBTQ movie which is titled Fire. Who is the director of the movie Fire? It has Shabana Azmi, Nandita Das as cast. Who is the director of this film? It is Deepa Mehta. Okay. Meera Nair was the director of which movie? Meera Nair was the director of which movie? It is Namesake. It is Namesake. That is correct. Okay. Who wrote the future poetry? Who wrote the future poetry? That is Aurobindo. Aurobindo wrote future poetry. Correct. Okay. When was Can the Subaltern Speak published? Can the Subaltern Speak was published in 1988. Who wrote it? Who wrote it? It is Spivak. Who wrote the work titled Other Worlds? Other Worlds. That is also Spivak. Who wrote the critical work titled In Theory, Classes, Nations, Literatures? In Theory, Classes, Nations and Literatures. It is Aijaz Ahmed. It is Aijaz Ahmed. He wrote In Theory, Classes, Nations and Literature. Correct. Okay. No. Spivak wrote the work titled In Other Worlds. When was it published? When was it published? In 1987. Can the Subaltern Speak was published in? Can the Subaltern Speak was published in 1988. Death of a Discipline was published in? Death of a Discipline by Spivak was published in 2003. Namesake was published in 2003. Namesake was published in 2003. The movie came out in 2006. Which Indian novel was published in 2006? It won a Booker Prize. It is The Inheritance of Loss by Kiran Desai. That is correct. Okay. Now tell me. Who wrote works like Alternative Sciences, At the Edge of Psychology, The Intimate Enemy? These are all works of Alternative Sciences, At the Edge of Psychology, and The Intimate Enemy. It is Ashish Nandi. Ashish Nandi. Correct. Okay. Who translated Abhijnana Shakuntalam? Who translated Abhijnana Shakuntalam? That is William Jones. That is William Jones. Correct. Okay. Who used the term anxiety of Indianness? Who used the term anxiety of Indianness? That is anxiety of Indianness. I can give you, yes, that is correct. It is Minakshi Mukherjee. It is Minakshi Mukherjee. She wrote the work titled The Perishable Empire. The Perishable Empire, essays on Indian writing in English. My question is, it was published in 2003. Which award did it win? The Perishable Empire won the award. Yes, it is Sahitya Academy Award in 2003. It won the Sahitya Academy Award in 2003. The Twice Born Fiction was published in which year? The Twice Born Fiction. It was in 1971. Which work of V.S. Naipaul was published in 71? It is In a Free State. In a Free State. Yes. Minakshi Mukherjee wrote a work titled An Indian for All Seasons. This is a biography of a famous historian. What is the name of this historian? An Indian for All Seasons is the biography of Romesh Chandra Dutt. Biography of Romesh Chandra Dutt. Minakshi Mukherjee was the biographer of Romesh Chandra Dutt. Correct. Yes. Okay. Who established the publishing house titled Zuban? Who established the publishing house titled Zuban? It is Urvashi Butalia. The Other Side of Silence was published in which year? The Other Side of Silence was published in 1998. 1998. What is the name of the autobiography of Sharan Kumar Limbale? The autobiography of Sharan Kumar Limbale is Akkarmashi or The Outcast. When was Akkarmashi published? Akkarmashi was published in 1984. Akkarmashi was published in 1984, which is same as that of Lights Out. Lights Out also came out in 1984. Okay, correct. When was Jootan published? When was Jootan published? In 1997. Correct. Okay. So are you able to remember all of this? Yes. Okay. So remember, when you revise, please give a little bit more importance to authors like Raja Rao, Mulraj Anand, R.K. Narayan, Kamala Das, Nissim Ezekiel, A.K. Ramanujan, Jayant Mahapatra, Arun Kolatkar, Salman Rushdie, Amitav Ghosh, Arundhati Roy, Kiran Desai. We've all talked about all these authors. Remember to revise these authors, okay? Mahesh Dattani, Bhama, Toru Dutt, Rohinton Mistry, Vikram Seth, all of them are important. Shashi Deshpande. So remember to look up these authors. Remember to revise them. These are all important authors. We get a lot of questions from these authors in most of the exams. Okay. Now tell me, who wrote A New World? A New World. It is Amit Chowdhury. Brave New World is a work of Brave New World. That is Aldous Huxley. That is correct. The Immortals is a work of The Immortals. The Immortals is also a work of Amit Chowdhury. Correct. Okay. Aymanam is the setting of which novel? Aymanam. Aymanam is the setting of The God of Small Things. That is correct. Whose debut novel is Narcopolis? Whose debut novel is Narcopolis? It is Jeet Thail. When was Narcopolis published? When was Narcopolis published? In 2014. That is correct. Okay. So let me ask you one last question. Who wrote the work titled The House of Blue Mangoes? The House of Blue Mangoes. It is David Davidar. David Davidar. Correct. Okay. Very good. I'm so glad that you remember all of this. Okay. Yes. So we have Setu ma'am here. The House of Blue Mangoes came out in 2002. Published in 2002. Okay. Thank you so much.
Hello, everyone. Hope you guys have enjoyed Indian literature revision. So, shall we move on to the next topic? Yes. So, we'll use a PPT and I want you to read through these questions and let's continue with our marathon. Are you all there? So shall we begin the revision on research methods in English? You can submit your answers in the chat box. Yes. Yes. Okay. Yeah, you can take a break and let's begin in a very slow pace and you can read through those questions. All right. Yes. All right. Here goes the first question. Yes. Here goes the first question. Yes. Are you able to read this question? Yes. A researcher rewrites a source by changing most keywords but preserves the original sentence structure and does not cite the source. And this is classified as? Yes, I know you guys know the answer. Yes. What is it called? Very good. Yes. Yes, so patch writing. Yes, most of you have submitted the answer right. So patch writing that occurs when a researcher replaces some words with synonyms, but keeps the original sentence structure intact. And it often happens when students they struggle to rephrase complex academic language. So while sometimes it is unintentional, it is still treated as plagiarism because the intellectual structure of the original author remains visible. So yes, as you mentioned, as you all submitted the right answer, yes, it is called patch writing. So salami slicing refers to what does it mean? Salami slicing. That is again another term, important term in research ethics. It refers to fragmenting a single research project into multiple papers with minimal new contribution. So although technically different papers they are published, the core data and arguments remain the same. So yes, dividing one study into multiple publications. That's what you call that's what you that's what we mean by salami slicing. Yes. A researcher submits the same manuscript to two journals at the same time. So this misconduct it is termed. What does it term? Yes. Is it plagiarism or is it fabrication or self-plagiarism or duplicate submission? Yes. Very good. Duplicate submission. Yes, duplicate submission. So duplicate submission happens when the same manuscript is sent to more than one journal simultaneously. And here academic publishing that assumes exclusively assumes exclusivity during peer review, and here you can see duplicate submission. That's what you call when a researcher submits the same manuscript to two journals at the same time. So next question, fabrication differs from falsification because fabrication involves yes, inventing data, interviews, experiments, or results that never occurred. And this is more serious than falsification, which manipulates existing data. Okay, and fabrication that destroys the credibility of research entirely because there is no empirical basis at all. Is that clear? Yes. Right answer, option C. Yes, you're right. Which situation most clearly constitutes self-plagiarism rather than copyright infringement? Yes. Is it option A or option C or option B? Self-plagiarism that usually occurs when authors they reuse their own previously submitted or published work without informing editors or readers. Okay. Yes. So reusing a chapter from one's thesis without disclosure. So that can be an example of a self-plagiarism, which is entirely different from copyright infringement. Is that clear? Yes. The Shod Shuddhi program is most closely linked with which regulatory concern? What could be the answer? Shod Shuddhi program. Yes. That is again a UGC initiative which is aimed at maintaining academic integrity in Indian universities, and it provides plagiarism detection software like Authenticate, and again that also clear similarity thresholds as well. And the program, what does it? It institutionalizes ethical research practices and standardizes misconduct evaluation across institutions. So Shod Shuddhi program, that is again a major initiative by UGC. Plagiarism and academic misconduct. Yes, right answer. Yes. So which of the following best distinguishes method from methodology? What could be the answer? Which of the following best distinguishes method from methodology? Yes. Are you all submitting your answers? Yes. Very good. Yes. So methodology that explains the philosophical assumptions behind research, why certain methods are chosen, and method that refers to the actual techniques used, such as interviews, surveys, or textual analysis. So in exams, methodology is linked to epistemology, while method is linked to procedure. So confusing the two, which is again a very common conceptual error. So yes, as you all submitted, yes, it is method that refers to tools and methodology that refers to the theoretical framework. Easy question. Arrange the following steps in a standard research process. Yes. Read through the question carefully and submit your answer. There is a sequence. There is a sequence associated with the standard research process. So research that begins with identifying a problem, yes, followed by reviewing existing scholarship to locate gaps. That is, you are reviewing the literature so that you can add your research gap to this existing field of research, yes. And then, yes, as a researcher, we are formulating hypothesis. Then, of course, data is collected. And finally, it is analyzed. And there is a sequence to it. And this sequence that ensures that research is theoretically grounded and methodologically sound. So we need a proper, standard research process. So there are steps involved in the standard research process. And yes, it's right. Right answer, BDACA. Very good. Yes. Which research type aims at theory building rather than immediate application? What could be the answer? Which research type aims at theory building? Yes. Yes. Is it applied research or is it basic research? Is it option B or option C? Yes. Right answer. Basic research that aims to expand theoretical knowledge rather than solve immediate problems. And it often appears abstract, but lays the foundation for applied research. So in literary studies, theory building, usually, like for example, structuralism or postcolonialism, that is considered basic research. Okay. Yeah. Easy question. Which of the following is not a qualitative research method? Easy question. It's not a qualitative research method. I'm sure you're familiar with ethnographic research, you're familiar with discourse analysis, you're familiar with case study, and yes, of course, yes. Very good. Statistical regression. Yes, statistical regression that relies on numerical data. And of course, with mathematical models as well, making it quantitative. And qualitative research that focuses on meaning, interpretation, analysis, and context. And ethnography, discourse analysis, case study, they prioritize depth over numerical generalization. The Belmont report, which is very significant in research methods because why is it significant in research methods? Belmont report, which is usually associated with human participation, particularly useful in ethnographic research, particularly useful in interview methods. Yes, Belmont report that introduced 3 core principles: respect for persons, beneficence, and justice. So these principles that guide informed consent and ethical review process, which is very foundational for institutional review board, IRBs worldwide. So here, I'm sure you're familiar with ethical guidance and ethical clearance report. So Belmont report, that is again very significant when we involve human subjects for your research, for our research. Belmont report. So, read through this question. Materials and research produced by organizations outside of the traditional commercial or academic publication and distribution channels, such as working papers, technical projects, etc. What is it called? Is it white literature or gray literature or yellow literature? Yes. Gray literature. Yes, that includes reports, policy papers, theses, and technical documents, which is produced outside commercial publishing. So, for example, if those research that involving patent study, you can see how they need these kind of materials for their detailed evaluation. Easy question. The concept of the archive as a system governing knowledge and discourse is theorized by who wrote Archaeology of Knowledge, who wrote Birth of the Clinic. Yes. By who conceptualized archive as a system that determines what can be said, remembered, or forgotten. It is not merely a physical collection, but a structure of discourse and power. So this idea is very much central to cultural and historical analysis. So, yes, very good. Foucault. Yes. And who wrote Archive Fever? Who wrote Archive Fever? That can be considered as one of the most important texts in archival research. French theorist. Derrida, very good. And who is associated with metahistory? Metahistory? Who is associated with metahistory? Very good. Hayden White. Yes, Hayden White. In archival research, paleography that refers to that enables researchers to read and date historical manuscripts. It is essential in archival and medieval studies, and without paleographical skills, primary historical documents remain inaccessible. So, yes, interpretation of historical handwriting. Which scholar is most closely associated with this oral history, with the development of oral history as a discipline, as a major research method? Is it Hayden White, or is it Paul Thompson, or Michel Foucault? Yes. Who wrote Voice of the Past? That can be considered as the foundational text associated with oral history. Yes, very good. Paul Thompson. Paul Thompson, Voice of the Past. That is again a major text by Paul Thompson. And remember, he is again a major figure associated with oral history. And oral history, as you can see, Paul Thompson, he legitimized oral testimony as historical evidence. And his work shifted history from elite written records to lived experience. And you can see how marginalized communities, you can see how we documented this theory. I mean, these lived experience of these marginalized communities, and oral history that democratizes historical knowledge by including marginal voices. So here, Paul Thompson, who wrote Voice of the Past, that can be considered as one of the foundational texts associated with oral history. Alessandro Portly argues that the value of oral history remains in not only in factual accuracy, but also in, is it associated with statistical reliability, or is it associated with meaning, emotion, and subjectivity? Yes, it is associated with meaning, emotion, and subjectivity. He argues that inaccuracies in oral history, they are meaningful rather than problematic. And memory reveals how people interpret events rather than what merely happened. And this insight that reshaped historical methodology. Again, an important figure associated with oral history. Ethnographic research is most closely associated with which methodological practice? You know the answer. Yes. Is it associated with experimental control, or is it associated with participant observation? Yes. Participant observation. Very good. Participant observation, as it involves immersive engagement with the community. And researchers, they observe it while participating in daily activities. And this method that provides insider perspectives and contextual understanding of a particular community, or a particular group of people. So that is why ethnographic research is very important. And you can see how it's provided, like how it provided the importance of participant observation. Which of the following works is an early example of ethnographic research in literary study? Yes. Easy question. Yes. Reading the romance. Janice A. Radway's Reading the Romance, that can be considered as one of the early examples of ethnographic research. There you can see how Radway, who studied how women actually read romance novels, and the focus shifted from text to reader-centered practices. And this work that influenced reader response criticism and, of course, cultural studies as well. So this is again an important text associated with ethnographic research. Easy question. Clifford Geert's concept of thick description, that refers to? He argues that behavior must be interpreted symbolically, and thick description that explains not just actions but their cultural significance as well. So it rejects purely objective observation. Yes. Very good. That refers to interpretation of cultural meanings. Yes. In contemporary literary and cultural studies, ethnography is most often associated with reading communities and everyday practices. Modern ethnography that studies how texts that circulate in daily life. It connects literature with social practices as well. You can see how a certain group reads Sons and Lovers in a room. How different age groups that read Sons and Lovers, and you can make an ethnographic study based on those reading practices as well. So here, this approach that bridges literary studies and anthropology. Yes, reading communities, performance cultures, and everyday practices. Margaret Mead's work, ethnographic work, Coming of Age in Samoa, that primarily examines, is it ritual symbolism or adolescence and cultural conditioning? This particular work, which is again an important foundational text in ethnographic research. The scholar here challenged determinism by showing adolescence as culturally shaped. And her work that sparked debates on nature versus nurture. And it remains, which is very foundational text in anthropology as well as in ethnographic studies. Yes, adolescence and cultural conditioning. So please remember, these are all important foundational works associated with ethnographic research. Remember Janice A. Radway's work. So that is also an example of an early ethnographic research area, and Coming of Age in Samoa. That is again another major work. And Margaret Mead, again another important theorist associated with ethnographic research. Who among the following is not associated with critical discourse analysis? Critical discourse analysis that studies language and power. And it's an easy question. You can look into the previous question and you can submit your answer. Yes. Norman Fairclough, Ruth Woodard, Marianne Johansson, they're all associated with critical discourse analysis. Critical discourse analysis that studies language and power. And Steedman works in cultural history and memory studies. Yes. Writing culture, poetics, and politics of ethnography that critically re-examines ethnography, ethnographic representation. It was edited by, again, a foundational text associated with ethnographic research. The book critiques ethnographic authority and objectivity, and it introduced reflexivity into anthropology. Yes. James Clifford and Georgie Marcus. Yes. Franco Moretti's concept of distant reading is associated with distant reading. That is again an important concept associated with digital humanities. And as you all know, distant reading that analyzes large corpora of text, more than hundreds of text or thousands of text, and it complements close reading. And Moretti argues it reveals patterns which is very much invisible at the micro level. Yes. Very good. It is associated with digital humanities. Stylometry in digital humanities that mainly uses linguistic fingerprints such as word frequency, and it is used in disputed authorship cases. So digital humanities that rely heavily on this method. So it is associated with attribute authorship based on linguistic features. Yes. The Wounded Storyteller, that is again a foundational text in medical humanities, written by who wrote The Wounded Storyteller? Yes. Arthur Frank, who studies illness narratives as cultural text, and he foregrounds patient voices and the work that shaped medical humanities as an interdisciplinary field by giving voice to patients' narratives, to the narratives of patients. Susan Sontag's Illness as Metaphor, again a major text in medical humanities that critiques, yes, illness as metaphor. So metaphor, that is a clue. So there you can see how she critiques moral metaphors attached to illness, such metaphors that stigmatize patients. So she advocates literal, non-moralized medical language. Which research approach analyzes how images produce meaning within cultural context? Yes. Yes, very good. Visual semiotics. Yes, visual semiotics. Very good. Visual semiotics that analyzes images as sign systems. It studies representation, ideology, and power, and which is very widely used in film and media studies. So visual sociology as a methodological approach is closely linked with who legitimized photography and visual data in sociology. And he argued visuals are analytical tools, not merely illustrations. That is again a major argument put forth by, very good, Howard S. Becker. Yes. Doing visual ethnography, that is a key text written by who wrote Doing Visual Ethnography. There you can see, yeah, how Sarah Pink integrates visuality, sensory experience, and ethnography, and her work that expands qualitative research beyond text. Yes. Susan Sontag's contribution to visual research primarily addresses, is it visual grammar or ethics and politics of representation? You can see how Susan Sontag examines how images shape suffering and empathy. And she warns against voyeurism and aestheticization of pain. Yes, ethics and politics of representation. Which of the following text is foundational to blue humanities? What could be the answer? Again, a foundational text associated with blue humanities. Blue humanities, as you know, it foregrounds oceans and maritime cultures, and it challenges land-centric humanism and climate change debates that make it increasingly relevant. And this is again a major text. Hester Blum's The View from the Masthead. That is again a foundational text in blue humanities. Yes. Judith Butler's contribution to vulnerability studies focuses on Judith Butler's contribution to vulnerability studies focuses on, yeah, as you can see, Butler links vulnerability to political recognition. Some lives are protected more than others, and vulnerability that becomes an ethical demand. So she tries to associate it with precarity and bodily exposure. Sydney Mintz, Sweetness and Power, that primarily links sugar consumption to, which is again a foundational text in food studies and cultural studies. Yes. You can see how Mintz associates sugar consumption to slave labor and global capitalism. And as you can see, food that becomes a historical and political lens. And here you can see how the theorist tries to associate it with colonialism, capitalism, and labor. Yes. Who is credited with the founding the Modern Language Association? Modern Language Association, yeah, began in the year, established in the year 1883, and MLA professionalized language studies. It standardized research and citation practices in humanities. Aaron Marshall Elliott, very good. Humanities Commons, launched by MLA in 2016, is best described as? Yes. Very good. Open access interdisciplinary platform. It promotes open scholarship and collaboration, and it reflects shift towards digital humanities as well. Yes. So Ankita is here. She'll continue with MLA citation. Yes. Hello, Ankita. Yes. Over to you, Ankita. Yes. I made you the host.
Okay, yeah. Good evening, everyone. Now we will do some questions from MLA 9. All right, let me start by sharing the screen. Okay. Good evening. Right. Okay. I hope the PPT is clearly visible to you, all right? Yes? Okay, great. Chalo. So, as we know that in the last 2 to 3 years, lots and lots of questions are coming from this particular citation style. That is MLA 9. All right? Okay. So, let's start. And we have kept questions exactly adhering to the pattern of questions that NTA is giving in the recent exams. All right. So, keeping a close focus on that, we have been preparing questions for that. All right. So, I hope all of you are ready now. Right. Let's move on to the first question. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Chalo. The questions are a bit big because the exam questions I have seen are also quite lengthy. Let's start. Which of the following is correct according to the MLA Handbook 9th edition regarding in-text citation for multiple authors? In-text citation for multiple authors according to MLA Handbook 9. Please read the options carefully and then answer, okay? Take some time, go through the options carefully, okay? Don't get confused, then answer. So, it's about in-text citation when we have more than one author, according to MLA 9. A, B, C, D, 4 options. A only, B only, C only, B and C only. The correct answer will be B and C only. There is for 2 authors, both last names are given in the signal phrase or parenthetical citation. And when we have 3 or more authors, only the first author's surname followed by et al. ETAL in italics dot ETAL, which means and others, et al. In italics followed by a full stop or a dot. This means and others is used. The right answer is B and C. Here we have talked about in-text citation. Please be careful. In-text citation of MLA 9. How to do in-text citation. Not the work cited thing. This is in-text citation. Okay? Right. Next question. 4. Correct. Next question. Okay. Chalo. Again, please take some time. Read the options carefully. Look at the options carefully, then answer. In MLA 9th edition, which of the following elements should be italicized in works cited list or entry? Look at the options carefully. Look at the question carefully. Think, then answer. Which elements are italicized in the work cited list of MLA 9? Okay. All of you are saying 3. B, C, D, right? Let's look at the answer. The correct answer is A only. I was asking you to be careful. We do not italicize title of a poem or an essay. They're put within double inverted commas. The question was about italicization. Only the title of the container, that is the name of the journal or website or the anthology, the name of the anthology will be italicized. When it comes to the name of a poem from an anthology or the title of an essay from a collection, they're put within double inverted commas. These are the intricacies that will be demanded in these exams. Be very careful. Okay? Okay? Yes, yes. Shivani, you need break. Okay. Yeah. So, you got the question? You understood the question? Here we talked about which thing will be italicized in the work cited list. Only the names of the journals, websites, anthologies, those will be italicized. MLA 9 is a bit different from MLA 8. There are slight changes. And now, for a long time now, we have been following MLA 9. Okay? And they are asking questions repeatedly from MLA 9. 9th edition. Clear? All right. Next question, okay? Chalo. Which of the following represents a correctly formatted works cited entry in MLA 9th edition? Look at the options carefully, then answer. No hurry. So this is citation of Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice. Yes, let's look at the answer. It will be very good. It is option A indeed, where the surname of the writer will go first, comma, first name of the author, full stop. Name of the book, italics, full stop. Publishing house, comma, year of publication, full stop. This is the standard way to cite a book according to MLA 9. All of you got it correctly? Very good. According to MLA 9th edition, the abbreviation N.D. stands for what? It stands for N.D. They have also been asking questions like this, about abbreviations and all. N.D means no date. In MLA 9, N.D in small letters. N.D in small letters. It means no date. No date. Okay? Right. Correct. Next question. They will twist options like this. That's why. They will make, at least for some questions, they will give you confusing options. And these are the crucial points where you need to be very careful, very alert. Okay, right. In MLA 9, when citing a source with no known author, what comes first in the work's cited entry? Is it anonymous, within quotes, or the title of the work, or unknown author, or the organization name? So it's about citation of a work with no known author. Right, right. The correct answer will be yes, yes. It is option B indeed. The title of the work will come first. The title of the work will come first when you are citing a work in MLA 9 which has no known author. Okay? Okay? Right. And after this live session tonight, please take out some time and just go through MLA 9 handbook once. Just once. Okay? That will be more than enough for you all. Got it? Right. Let's move on to the next question. According to MLA 9th edition, block quotations in prose are formatted as dash. How are the block quotations in prose formatted? According to MLA 9th edition. Again, look at the options carefully. No hurry. Then answer. A, B, C, D. Okay. All of you answering. A. The correct answer will be? Indeed, it is A. For quotations longer than 3 lines, they're double spaced, indented 1 inch from the left margin without quotation marks. So according to MLA 9th edition, how are the block quotations in prose formatted? For quotations longer than 3 lines, they're double spaced. They're indented 1 inch from the left margin without quotation marks. Correct. Got it? Very good. Very good. Yes, yes. It is indeed a PYQ, correct. Okay. Next. Arrange the following core elements of a work's cited entry according to the MLA 9th edition. Arrange these elements in the correct order. Arrange these elements in the correct order. Like how they come in the work cited list. What's their correct order of emergence? What's their correct order of emergence in the works cited list of MLA 9? Okay, we are getting mixed answers. 1, 2, 1. Okay, 1. Let's look at the correct answer, right? The correct answer will be 1. First, we will have author. Then title of the source. Then title of the container. Then publisher. And lastly, we have publication date. It was very easy, right? We all know this order. We have been citing so many works for so many term papers and everything, right? This order was very easy. First, author, title of source, title of container, publisher, and lastly, publication date. Lastly, publication date. Right? Very good. Yes, yes, yes. These are very repeated questions. Very helpful. Okay, next. According to MLA 9th edition, arrange the correct order of containers when citing a source found within multiple containers. Example, an article in an online database. Now tell me, it's a bit tricky, but if you know it correctly, you can answer. Correct order of containers when citing a source found within multiple containers. All of you are saying unanimously it is 1. Let's look at the correct answer. It is indeed 1. Yes. Title of article, then journal, then title of database, and lastly, DOI. Title of article, title of journal, title of database, and lastly, the DOI. A, B, C, D. Correct. Got it? Very good. Next question. Okay. Next question. According to the MLA Handbook 9th edition, which of the following are correct? These types of questions are very common in the NETCA exam. So look at the options carefully, then answer please. Which of the following are correct? Title of a paper should be centered and in title case. Page number should appear in the top right corner, half inch from the top. The correct answer will be A, B, D. And also correct is that the date format on the first page is month, day, year. So this is how you write date in MLA 9 format. So A, B, D are correct about MLA 9 formatting style. Yes, A, B, D are correct. A, B, D are correct. Got it? The title of the paper should be centered. We all know this. The title of any paper, when you are doing it according to MLA 9, it should be centered and in title case. Page numbers should appear in the top right corner, half inch from the top. And lastly, the date format on the first page is first month, then day, then lastly year. So A, B, D are correct about MLA 9. All right. Okay. Very good. Next. In MLA. Okay. Just give me a second. Month. Oh, this will be May 12. May 12. Right. May 12. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I saw it. Right. Next. In MLA 9th edition, which statements about in-text citation are correct? In MLA 9th edition, which statements about in-text citation are correct? In-text citation is often asked. In-text citation of MLA 9, a very popular question. It is often asked and very important area as well. Okay. Or if you're saying 1. Okay, let's look at the correct answer. It is indeed 1, A and B only. The author's last name and page number are used without a comma. We all know this, right? Like Austin 31. Exact. Right? Author's surname and the page number without any comma. And if the author's name appears in the signal phrase, only the page number is required. So A and B only. These two statements are correct about in-text citation of MLA 9. In-text citation of MLA 9. Okay, got it? Very good. Next. According to MLA guidelines, which are correct? It is very easy. Just you need a very common knowledge of this citation style to answer this. Which are correct here? The right answer will be A, B, C. The works cited page begins on a new page after your main text is done. So the thing is that works cited list always appears at the very end. And it's a rule that you have to always start it from a new, fresh page. It doesn't matter if you have just 2 lines in the previous page. You cannot start your work citation from there itself. You just cannot do that. It's against the rule of MLA 9. So you have to always start your work citation list at the very end and from a new, fresh page. And we all know titles of the books are italicized, and titles of short stories and essays, they are not italicized. They're put in quotation marks. They're always put in quotation marks. Oh, this often happens in colleges, but that's not a very practical thing to do. That's not the right thing to do, rather. Yes, I got scolded twice in my college because in my term paper I had started from the same page and my 2 marks got deducted. So I have a very first hand experience of this. So never start your work cited thing from the same page where you have done your conclusion. Never do that. It is always supposed to be at the end, at the very end, and from a new fresh page. Okay. And the names of the short stories and essays will always be there within quotation marks. Okay, right, very good. Which statements about MLA paper formatting are correct? Paper formatting, very, very important topic these days. How we do the paper formatting according to MLA 9. MLA paper formatting, MLA 9 paper formatting. Okay, all of you are saying 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. The correct answer is indeed 2. Double spacing. Remember when we did a session on MLA 9, we had discussed all this. That in MLA 9, double spacing is required throughout the paper, including block quotations. There will be double spacing, not single or something else. If it is MLA 9, it is always double spacing. Paragraphs are indented 1 inch and the preferred font is Times New Roman size 12. Okay, double spacing, indentation of paragraphs by 1 inch and Times New Roman size 12. Got it? Very good. According to MLA 9th edition, citation rules say what will be there in MLA 9 citation. Very easy, not very tough. A, B, C only, B and D only, A and C only, A, C, D only. The correct answer will be ABC. A DOI is preferred over a URL when available. The term et al, we talked about it. It is used when there are more than 3 authors. And the title of the container is italicized. Title of the container is italicized. Okay, right. Next. According to MLA guidelines, which of the following statements are correct? It is, please focus. We are not talking about title of the paper here. We're talking about the title work cited. That is when you write work cited, how you are supposed to write it. The correct answer will be A, B, C, D. All are correct. And many of us, we often do a mistake. Never put underline when you write works cited. Many of us do this mistake often. Okay? Never do that. Right. The work's cited title is centered but never italicized. In the works cited list of MLA 9, the entries are arranged alphabetically by the first author's last name. It is by the surnames. Surnames. Entries are arranged alphabetically according to the surnames of the first author. Okay? Multiple works by the same author are arranged alphabetically by title. By title. And lastly, each entry uses a hanging indent of ½ inch. Each entry of MLA 9 citation list, each entry uses a hanging indent of ½ inch. It's a very, very, very important area, that how you prepare your works citation list at the very end. How do you prepare that list in the correct format? Work cited title at the very middle. No italicization, no underline, nothing. Then the entries are arranged alphabetically according to the surname of the first author. Multiple works by the same author are arranged alphabetically by title. And lastly, each entry in that list uses a hanging indent of ½ inch. Okay, right. Next. This is very easy. Which of the following entries correctly represents a journal article accessed online according to MLA 9? How do you cite an article in MLA 9? A, B, C, D, 4 options. Citation of an article in MLA 9. At least one question like this will be there in the exam. Citation of an article, online article in MLA 9. The correct answer will be option A, yes. Morrison, Tony, full stop. This is the name of the article. The site of memory within double inverted comma, full stop. This is the name of the site. Not site, the journal. A Michigan Quarterly Review, comma, volume number, year, page numbers, assessed from gestor, comma, this is the DOI. Actually, this thing got like this here when I made it bold, I think. This is a bold ka problem, okay? But wait. This thing has already been italicized here. The name of the journal, so it's done. JSTONE need not be italicized because the name of the journal is already here, italicized. Okay, the container is italicized. That's enough. Okay, yeah. I thought because I made it bold to mark the answer, I thought that thing got straight. But it's correct. It's correct. Because here the container is this one, Michigan Quarterly Review. Now in first, number in second. Okay. Next. Which of the following is the correct MLA 9th edition entry for a book by one author? This is very easy. Basic level of MLA. Very easy. Eliot, TS, full stop, The Westland in italics, full stop. Faber and Faber, the publishing house, 1922, full stop. Very easy, this one. Next. Which of the following is the correct MLA 9th edition works cited entry for a book with 4 authors? How do you cite a book with 4 authors in MLA 9? Book with 4 authors. Yes. B only. Patel, Reena et al. Full stop. Contemporary Indian fiction. Italics. Rutledge, the publishing house, comma 2021 full stop. So when you have a book with so many authors, you use this one, et al. Patel, Reena, comma et al. Full stop. This is the main idea. Okay? Right. The last question. Which of the following represents a correct MLA 9th edition citation entry for a journal article from a print source? Print source. Journal article from a print source ka citation in MLA 9. It will be B only. Brown, comma, David, full stop. This is the name of the article within commas, within, not comma, within double quotes. Then this is the name of the journal, Modern Literary Studies in italics. Then volume number, page number, full stop. Okay, B only. This is how you cite journal article from a print source. It is not online. Remember, not online. It is from a print source. That's why you do not need URL and DOI and all that. It is citation of a journal article. Difference. Okay. I couldn't understand your question. Wait, let me open here. Difference between, wait, where is the question? Vol in caps. Difference between option first and second is capital and small letter of the word vol. Okay, in this one, you are saying. So option A is obviously wrong, right? Because this title will never be in italics. An article title will never be like this. It will always be straight, normal. That's why B is correct. Option B is correct. It is straight. It is not like this. An article title will never be this straight. Okay? Yeah. Any article title, any short story title will never sleep. It will always stand straight within quotation marks. Only a book title will get italicized. Only a book title will get italicized. And when we are citing any article from a journal, the journal name will sleep. It will get italicized. The journal name or the magazine name. That's why, since it's an article from print source, Brown, comma, David, full stop. It's straight, not in italics. It is absolutely straight. Within quotes, full stop. This is the journal name. That's why it's like this in italics, comma. It will be vol, VOL, V will be always small, never in caps. V will never be in caps. It will always be small. That's the correct way. So VOL dot 18 number, comma 3, comma year, page numbers, full stop. Caps ka V will be wrong because volume V will always be in small in MLA 9. Okay? I think that's what you are asking about. And here B is the correct answer. This one here, B only. Right. Oh, we have one more article. One more question. Which of the following is correctly formatted for an MLA 9th edition online journal article with a DOI? Last question. Online journal article with DOI. B only, correct. Singh, comma, Aarti, full stop. This is the name of the article. That's why it is straight. And within these quotation marks, full stop. This is the name of the journal. That's why it is sleeping in italics. Post-colonial text, comma, vol. V, small. Vol, number, year. This is the DOI. Option B is the correct answer. This is how you do citation of an online journal article with the DOI according to MLA 9. I hope that was easy for you all. Yes. Okay. I hope these questions will help you. I will send the PPT to our team, okay? Yes. I hope these questions will help you a bit with your questions on MLA. Right.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the session. Hope you guys have enjoyed research methods, and next topic is post-colonial literature. Were you able to submit your answers in the chat box? I hope. Yeah, we'll share the PDF. We'll share the PDF in your course module. And were you able to remember all those theorists and important text associated with research methods? Were you able to answer? Yes, we are starting the session soon. Were you able to answer those questions related to MLA 9th edition? Yes. Are you enjoying this marathon session, everybody? Are you able to answer every question? Yes. Hope you guys have enjoyed Indian literature and research methods. So let's begin our next topic. Are you all ready? Yes. Let's continue today's session with post-colonial literature. All right. Yes. Are you ready to submit your answers in the chat box? And yes. All right. Okay. So here goes the first question. Who wrote Roughing It in the Bush or Forest Life in Canada? That can be considered as one of the earliest works in Canadian literature. That is again a cautionary tale that is written in the form of a cautionary tale to discourage prospective immigrants. And can you remember who wrote this work? Yes, Susanna Strickland Moody. Very good. Susanna Strickland Moody. And who wrote Journals of Susanna Moody? Who wrote Journals of Susanna Moody? That is again a poetry collection by Margaret Atwood. Margaret Atwood. And who wrote the poetry collection? Who wrote the poetry collection Power Politics? Who wrote the poetry collection Power Politics? Yes, that is a major poetry collection by Margaret Atwood. And who wrote the non-fictional piece Power Politics? Indian writer. Who wrote God of Small Things? Who wrote Mother Mary Comes to Me? Arundhati Roy, very good. Arundhati Roy, yes. Arundhati Roy, she wrote this non-fictional prose work that is Power Politics. And remember, Margaret Atwood, she wrote this poetry collection, Power Politics. And who wrote the short story collection, Legends of Vancouver? Legends of Vancouver, that is a short story collection by, she was a performer, she was a major Canadian writer and performer, popular in the 19th century. Remember the writer? Pauline Johnson. Very good. Pauline Johnson. And Legends of Vancouver, that is a short story collection by Pauline Johnson. And who wrote the poetry collection Flint and Feather? Flint and Feather. Poetry collection by Pauline Johnson. Very good. And who wrote the poetry collection Feather of the Dawn? Who wrote the poetry collection Feather of the Dawn? Bird of Time, Feather of the Dawn. These are all poetry collections by Golden Thresholds by Sarojini Naidu. Very good. Sarojini Naidu. And who wrote, yes. Who wrote Literary History of Canada? That is again a major work edited volume on Canadian literature? Who wrote Literary History of Canada? Who wrote Anatomy of Criticism? Who wrote Fearful Symmetry? Who wrote Literary History of Canada? Yes, Northrop Frye. Very good. Northrop Frye. Can you remember the major awards, prestigious literary awards given to Canadian writers? And E.J. Pratt, he won this award thrice, and Northrop Frye praised him. Governor General's Award, very good. Governor General's Prize, yes. Governor General's Prize, very good. Yes. And can you remember the anthology in Canadian literature that heralded the emergence of literary modernism in Canadian literature? And the anthology, it was anonymously edited by F.R. Scott. New Provinces, very good. New Provinces, yes. New Provinces. Who wrote an important poetry collection called Poems for People? Poems for People, and she wrote about social justice, and she's known for this powerful use of imagery in her poems, and Day and Night is again a major poetry collection, and she was very much active in this Communist Party of Canada. Can you remember the writer? Can you remember the writer Day and Night, who wrote this poetry collection, Day and Night, Poems for People? That is again a major poetry collection by Dorothy Livesey. Very good. Dorothy Livesey. Remember, Poems for People, that is again a major poetry collection by Dorothy Livesey. Yes. Who wrote the non-fictional collection called Cross Country? Cross Country. I can give you a clue. He wrote a major work titled Two Solitudes, which is set against the backdrop of First World War. Can you remember the writer? He wrote The Watch That Ends the Night. He wrote Two Solitudes. He was a professor at McGill University, and this is his most important non-fictional piece, Cross Country. Hugh MacLennan. Very good. Hugh MacLennan. Yes. Hugh MacLennan. Who wrote Deptford Trilogy? Who wrote Deptford Trilogy? He's known for his characterization, and this is again a major trilogy. And Fifth Business, Manticore, World of Wonders. These works, they are part of Deptford Trilogy, and the setting is in Deptford, and yeah. Robertson Davis. And who wrote World Within World? Whose autobiographical work is titled World Within Worlds? Remember 1930s poets? Stephen Spencer. Very good. Stephen Spencer. Who wrote the poetry work, the poetry collection, Graven Images? Graven Images. That is a poetry collection by. She's a feminist writer, and most of her works, they are set in exotic settings. And 10 Green Bottles, that is the title of her autobiographical work. So can you remember the writer who wrote Graven Images? Audrey Thomas. Very good. Audrey Thomas. And who wrote Cornish Trilogy, Salterton Trilogy? These are all trilogies written by Robertson Davis. Very good. Robertson Davis. Yes. Yes. Can you remember the writer who wrote the playwright who wrote The Ecstasy of Ritajo? The Ecstasy of Ritajo, that is written in 2 acts. And the novel discusses about this general apathy of Canadian whites towards Native people. And it is again a drama. It has a tragic ending. It is a play in 2 acts. George Raiga. Very good. George Raiga. Who wrote this docu-fiction titled Obasan? Obasan, that is a docu-fiction that is set against the backdrop of Second World War. And Obasan, that is by Joy Kogawa. Very good. And can you remember the narrator, who is a 30-year-old school teacher? Can you remember the narrator who narrates this novel? This is again a docu-fiction. Naomi Nakani. Very good. Naomi Nakani. Yes. Naomi Nakani. Yes. Who wrote the short story collection titled Other Paris? Other Paris, that is a short story collection by who wrote a major novel titled Green Water, Green Sky, and again a major play written by him. Yes, What is to be Done? That is a major play by Mavis Leslie Gallant. Very good. And Other Paris, that is a major short story collection by Mavis Leslie Gallant. Yes. Other Paris. And who wrote Down and Out in Paris and London? Who wrote Down and Out in Paris and London? That can be considered as the first full-length work written by George Orwell. Very good. George Orwell. Yes. George Orwell. And who wrote Home Truths? Home Truths. That is again a major short story collection by Home Truths. Home Truths. The Other Paris. Mavis Leslie Gallant. Yes. And who wrote Home Burial? Who wrote Home Burial? Home Burial by American poets? Robert Frost. Yes. Remember? Who wrote? Yes. Who wrote? Can you remember the fictional setting created by Lucy Maud Montgomery in Anne of Green Gables? And this novel can be considered as a classic children's work. Anne Shirley is the central character. Avonlea, very good. Avonlea, yes. Avonlea, that is a fictional setting created by Lucy Maud Montgomery. Very good. And who wrote House of the Seven Gables? That is again a Gothic romance fiction written by House of the Seven Gables. Nathaniel Hawthorne, yes, Nathaniel Hawthorne, who wrote House of the Seven Gables, and who wrote Anne of Green Gables? Anne of Green Gables, that is again, that can be considered as local color novel. That's by Lucy Maud Montgomery. Yes, and who created the fictional setting Mariposa? Mariposa, that is a fictional setting created by Stephen Leacock. Stephen Leacock in Sunshine Sketches of a Little Town. And who wrote Manawaka series? Who wrote Manawaka series that consists of, it is again a pentalogy of novels. And Manawaka, that is the fictional setting created by Margaret Lawrence. Very good. Remember Stone Angel, Diviners? Yes. Bird in the House, Just of God. These are all works written by Margaret Lawrence. And Hagar Shipley is a character in which work? Hagar Shipley is a character in Stone Angel. Very good. Stone Angel. Yes. Robert Ross is the central character in which work? He's the narrator, and you can see how this narrator who employed how this novel utilizes first person, second person, and third person narration. And Robert Ross is the central character, and you can see how he was influenced by First World War. And this is again an example of a postmodern fiction. Can you remember? The Wars. Yes, very good. And who wrote The Wars? Remember? Timothy Finlay. Very good. Timothy Finlay. Yes. And whose debut short story collection is titled Dance of the Happy Shades? Dance of the Happy Shades. Alice Munro. And who won the Nobel Prize for Literature in 2013? Alice Munro. And whose debut short story collection is titled Dancing Girls? Dancing Girls by Margaret Atwood. Yes. And who wrote Dancing Forest? Who wrote Dance of the Forest? Who won the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1986? First African to win the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1986. Wole Soyinka. Very good. Wole Soyinka. Yes. And who wrote the Stone Diaries? The Stone Diaries, there you can see it is again the fictional autobiography of Daisy Goodwill Flett, who is an 80-year-old woman. Carol Shields. Yes, Carol Shields. Marian McAlpin is the central character in which work? Marian McAlpin, who's a 30-year-old woman, and the work got published in the year 1969. Can you remember? The Edible Woman. The Edible Woman. The Edible Woman. Very good. Whose autobiographical work is titled Book of Lives? Book of Lives. That is the autobiographical work by whose autobiography is titled Book of Lives, which got published in 2025. Margaret Atwood. Margaret Atwood, who wrote Book of Lives. That is the title of her autobiography. Yes. Who wrote? Who wrote Lady Oracle? Who wrote Blind Assassin? Cat's Eye? These are all works written by Margaret Atwood. And can you remember the fictional setting of Handmaid's Tale? The title Handmaid's Tale is inspired by the Canterbury Tales, and the fictional setting in Handmaid's Tale, Republic of Gilead and Republic of Abruria. That is a fictional setting of which work? Republic of Abruria. Wizard of Craw. Very good. Wizard of Craw, yes. And Margaret Atwood, she won the Booker Prize for 2 works. Can you remember those 2 works? Blind Assassin and Testaments. And Testaments that can be considered as a sequel to which work? Handmaid's Tale. Very good. Handmaid's Tale, yes. Then, who wrote Gertrude Talks Back? Remember Gertrude Talks Back? It is again a short story written by Margaret Atwood. That is part of her short story collection, Good Bonds. And it focuses on Gertrude Morrell. Focuses on Gertrude, the mother of Hamlet, Gertrude in Hamlet. Yes, Margaret Atwood. Margaret Atwood. Who wrote the short story collection Murder in the Dark? Who wrote the short story collection Murder in the Dark? That is a short story collection by Margaret Atwood. And who wrote the short story collection Darkness? Darkness, that is a short story collection by? Can you remember the writer? Who wrote Tiger's Daughter? Who wrote Desirable Daughters? Who wrote Darkness? That is a short story collection by Bharati Mukherjee. And who wrote the short story collection Power of Darkness and Other Stories? Power of Darkness and Other Stories, that is by Power of Darkness and Other Stories by? Who wrote Untouchable? Who wrote Coolie? Who wrote Pigeon Indian? Mulraj Anand. And Power of Darkness and Other Stories, that is by Mulraj Anand. Yes. And who wrote? Yes. And who wrote Darkness? That is a short story collection by Bharati Mukherjee. Okay. Yes. And yes. Hannah Kirpal Singh. These are all characters in which work? Hannah, who is a Canadian nurse, and remember English Patient. And who wrote English Patient? Michael Ondaatje. And can you remember the autobiographical work written by Michael Ondaatje? Running in the Family. Yes, that is again a PYQ. Running in the Family. That is the autobiographical work written by Michael Ondaatje. Yes. Michael Ondaatje. Very good. Who wrote Anil's Ghost? Anil's Ghost. Michael Ondaatje. Very good. Who wrote The High Mountains of Portugal? That is divided into 3 sections. Each concerns the life of a widower. Who wrote Life of Pi? Who wrote Rock Communications? Who wrote Self? Who wrote High Mountains of Portugal? Yes, Yen Martel. Yen Martel. Very good. Yes. Who wrote The Holder of the World? That can be considered as a retelling of Scarlet Letter. Bharati Mukherjee. Bharati Mukherjee. Holder of the Worlds. Holder of the Worlds. And who wrote Hack Seat? Who wrote Hack Seat? Remember? That can be considered as a retelling of which work? Tempest. Very good. Tempest. Yes, Tempest. Who wrote Such a Long Journey? Such a Long Journey. Rohinton Mistry. Tales from Firozabad. Such a Long Journey. These are all works by Rohinton Mistry. Yes. Who wrote Blood in the Sun trilogy? Who wrote Blood in the Sun trilogy? It is a trilogy. It consists of maps, gifts, secrets. He's a Somali novelist, remember? Nuruddin Farah. Very good. Nuruddin Farah. And can you remember the name of the other trilogy written by him? Remember? links, knots, crossbonds. These are three words which are part of past imperfect trilogy. Past imperfect trilogy. Very good. Past imperfect trilogy. Yes. Who wrote? Who wrote Maru? Who wrote Maru? Who wrote Question of Power? She was active in Pan-African politics, and in Question of Power, you can find the central character Elizabeth. Remember, Bessie Head. Yes, Bessie Head. Bessie Head. Very good. Who wrote Chronicles from the Land of the Happiest People on Earth? That is set in a fictional country that got published. That can be considered as the latest work written by. Who wrote Chronicles from the Land of the Happiest People on Earth? Yes, very good. Wole Soyinka. Wole Soyinka. Wole Soyinka. Who wrote Interpreter of Maladies that consist of 9 short stories? Interpreter of Maladies. That is a work by. Yes, Jhumpa Lahiri. And who wrote the novel Interpreters? Who wrote the novel Interpreters? Wole Soyinka. And Chronicles from the Land of the Happiest People on Earth, is that a novel or a play? Novel. Very good. And can you remember the other major novel written by him? Season of Anomy? Interpreters? Yes. Very good. Wole Soyinka. Wole Soyinka, again, major writer. Yes. Major writer, please remember. And whose debut short story collection is titled Face to Face? Face to Face. Nadine Godimer. Very good. Nadine Godimer. Ved Mehta's autobiographical work is titled Face to Face, and Nadine Godimer's short story collection is titled Face to Face. Yes. Who wrote Season of Migration to the North? Again, a major writer from Sudan. Season of Migration to the North. Remember? Taib Salih. Very good. Taib Salih. Who wrote, whose essay collection is titled Home and Exile? Home and Exile, Hopes and Impediments. These are all essay collections by? Is it Chinua Achebe or Wole Soyinka? Chinua Achebe, yes. And can you remember the title of his autobiography? Chinua Achebe's autobiography? Remember? There was a country. There was a country, that is the title of his autobiography. Yes. Who wrote Cairo Trilogy? Who wrote Cairo Trilogy? Palace Walk, Palace of Desire, Sugar Street. These are 3 works which are part of Cairo Trilogy. Remember? Nago Mahfouz. Very good. Yes. Who wrote A Snail's Family appear in which work? Snail's Family appear in which work of a South African writer? July's People. Remember? Snail's Family. Yes. Very good. And Joad's Family appear in which work? Joad's Family. The novel is set against the backdrop of Dust Bowl trilogy. Remember? Joad's Family, American. Grapes of Wrath. Yes, that is part of Dust Bowl trilogy. Very good. And Dorai Family appear in which work? Aksa ma'am asked you a question today. House of Blue Mangoes. House of Blue Mangoes by David Davidar. Yes. Who wrote Waiting for Barbarians? Who wrote Waiting for Barbarians? The story is narrated in the first person by an unnamed character. Remember? J.M. Coetzee. Very good. And David Lowry is a character in which work of J.M. Coetzee? David Lowry. Remember? Disgrace. Very good. Disgrace. Yes. Disgrace. Okay. Who wrote The Joys of Motherhood? The Joys of Motherhood, that can be considered as a response to Flora Nope's Efuru. Remember? Buchiam Cheta, very good. Who wrote Bride Price, Slave Girl? These are all works written by Buchiam Cheta. Yes. And can you remember the first work written by Buchiam Cheta? First work. It is a semi-autobiographical work. In the Ditch. Yes, very good. In the Ditch. Yes. In the Ditch. Who wrote Flowers and Shadows? Who wrote Flowers and Shadows, which is set in Lagos? And Flowers and Shadows by Famish wrote Flowers and Shadows. These are all works written by Ben Okri. Very good. Ben Okri. Yes. Who wrote? Yes. Who wrote Purple Hibiscus, Half of a Yellow Sun? These are all works written by yes. Edichi. And can you remember the latest work written by Edichi? Latest work. Remember? The Dream Count. Remember? That is the latest work by Edichi that got published in the year 2025. Yes, Dream Count. That is again a major work written by Edichi. And that got published recently in 2025. Yes. Who wrote? Yeah. Antonita Cosway is a character in which work? Antonita Cosway is a character in which work? Remember, that can be considered as a prequel. It is a counter narrative that can be considered as a prequel to Jane Eyre. Yes, White Sargasso very good. White Sargasso Who wrote? Yeah. Tabitha is a character in which work? Tabitha is a character in which work? The novel is set in a village in Jamaica. Banana Bottom, very good. Banana Bottom, yes. Banana Bottom, yes. Who wrote? Who wrote? Who wrote the play Dream on Monkey Mountain? Dream on Monkey Mountain. That is a play by Derek Walcott. Derek Walcott, yes. And who wrote the poetry collection In a Green Night? In a Green Night. Derek Walcott. And who wrote 10 Green Bottles? Remember, Canadian writer who wrote 10 Green Bottles? Audrey Thomas. And who wrote Anne of Green Gables? Lucy Maud Montgomery. Are you able to remember these questions? And can you remember the fictional setting created by Lucy Maud Montgomery? Avonlea. Very good. Avonlea. Yes. Who wrote? Yes. Who wrote? Yeah, Avonlea, that is the fictional setting. Very good. And Mariposa, that is the fictional setting by? Yes. And who wrote The Castaway and Other Poems? The Castaway and Other Poems, The Gulf and Other Poems, these are all works written by? Poetry collections by? Derek Walcott. Yes. And who wrote Green Gardener and Other Stories? Who wrote Green Gardener and Other Stories? Remember? Who wrote Relationship Long Poem? Who wrote Green Gardener and Other Stories? That is by Jayanta Mahapatra. And who wrote Green Helmet and Other Poems? So today we learned a lot on green. Yeah. W. Bates, very good. W. Bates. And who wrote, easy question. This is the last question. Who wrote A Far Cry from Africa? Easy question. No, Prama PPT. Yes. Okay. A Far Cry from Africa by? No, 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 no. That is by Derek Walcott. And who wrote Cry the Beloved Country? That is by South African writer Alan Paton. Don't get confused with these writers. Okay. Alan Paton, who wrote Cry the Beloved Country. And today we learned a question on Chinua Achebe. Remember, there was a country. That is the title of his autobiography. Yes. And A Far Cry from Africa. That is by Derek Walcott. All right. So hope you guys have enjoyed the session. And are you able to answer these questions? Yes. It's okay. Yeah. Aksa ma'am is here. She'll continue with Postcolonial.
Good evening, everyone. How are you? Are you tired? Are you bored? How is it going? Is it helping? Are you able to remember? So, shall we continue? Yes. Oh, okay. You sit comfortably, take a walk in between. You don't have to sit and listen all the time. Take a walk in between. Make sure you're comfortable. You don't have to sit in one place and listen. You can walk. Yes. Hi. Okay. Okay. So we'll continue with Australian literature now. Okay. So tell me, who wrote the work titled An Imaginary Life? An Imaginary Life. Who wrote this work? It is David Malouf, yes. So in An Imaginary Life, there is a classical writer that is mentioned. Who is it? Malouf talks about Ovid in the work An Imaginary Life. That is correct. Okay. Now tell me, who wrote My Life is a Fake? My Life a Fake. Who wrote it? My Life a Fake. Is it Peter Carey? Is it Thomas Kennelly? Is it David Malouf? Who is it? It is Peter Carey. It is Peter Carey. That is correct. Okay. So Thomas Kennelly wrote the work Blood Red Sister Rose. This work is based on the life of which character? Thomas Kennelly's Blood Red Sister Rose is based on the life of Joan of Arc. It is based on Joan of Arc. Correct. Bliss is the debut novel of which writer? Bliss is the debut novel of which writer? Bliss. Is it Peter Carey? Is it David Malouf? Bliss. It is Peter Carey. It is Peter Carey. What is the title of the first novel of David Malouf? The debut novel of David Malouf? Debut novel of David Malouf is Jono. That is correct. It is Jono. Jono is the debut novel of David Malouf. Correct. Happy Valley is the debut novel of Happy Valley is the debut novel of Patrick White. That is correct. Patrick White. When was Woes published? In which year was Woes published? In 1957. In 1957. In which work do we have the characters Stan Parker and Amy Parker? Stan Parker and Amy Parker are characters from The Tree of Man. Yes, correct. The Tree of Man. Yes, okay. So tell me, who wrote Remembering Babylon? Who wrote the work titled Remembering Babylon? It is a work of David Malouf. When was it published? When was Remembering Babylon published? In 1993. In which work do we have the character Jemmy Fairley? Jemmy Fairley is a character from Remembering Babylon. Who wrote the work Fly Away Peter? Fly Away Peter is a work of? Fly Away Peter is a work of? It is a work of David Malouf. It is a work of David Malouf. Who wrote the work titled Ransom? Ransom is a work of? That is also David Malouf. Yes. Who wrote Child's Play? Child's Play. That is also David Malouf. All these are works of David Malouf. Correct. Okay. Who wrote The Chant of Jimmy Blacksmith? The Chant of Jimmy Blacksmith is a work of Thomas Kennelly. Which work of Thomas Kennelly is based on Joan of Arc? The work of Kennelly based on Joan of Arc is Blood Red Sister Rose. Blood Red Sister Rose. Which other work of Thomas Kennelly are we familiar with? Which other work of Kennelly? It is the Schindler's Ark. The Schindler's Ark was also made into a movie which is titled Dash. It is the Schindler's List. That is correct. Okay. Now tell me, who wrote Riders in the Chariot? Riders in the Chariot. That is Patrick White. Patrick White. Correct. Who wrote Life and Times of Michael K? Life and Times of Michael K is a work of J.M. Coetzee. Which award did this work win? Life and Times of Michael K won the Booker Prize. How many times did J.M. Coetzee win the Booker Prize? 2 times. 2 times, yes. The first one was for Life and Times of Michael K. And the second one was for Disgrace. Disgrace was published in which year? Disgrace was published in which year? In 1999, which is also same as Jhumpa Lahiri's, which is also the year of publication of Jhumpa Lahiri's Interpreter of Maladies. Interpreter of Maladies. When was Life and Times of Michael K published? When was Life and Times of Michael K published? In 1983. This work, in this particular work, Michael starts his journey from which town? In Life and Times of Michael K, Michael starts his journey from which place? Is it Cape Town? Is it Port Elizabeth? It is Cape Town. It is Cape Town. Yes. Who created the character Jack Max? Who created the character Jack Max? It is Peter Carey. Jack Max is based on which character? Jack Max is based on which character? It is based on Abel Magwitch or Pip. What is the correct answer? Jack Mags is based on Abel Magwitch, not Pip. It is Abel Magwitch. Remember that Jack Mags is based on Abel Magwitch. Which novel is it? Which novel is it? It is Great Expectations. Great Expectations, correct. When was it published? Great Expectations was published in 1861. 1861. 1861, correct. Okay. Who is known to have created a town called Sarsaparilla? Who created the town called Sarsaparilla? That is Patrick White. Yes. Who wrote The Narrow Road to the Deep North? The Narrow Road to the Deep North. That is Richard Flanagan. Richard Flanagan wrote The Narrow Road to the Deep North. Yes. Is Sally Morgan from Australia? Is Sally Morgan from Australia? Yes. Is Jack Davis from Australia? Yes. Is Marcus Isaac from Australia? Marcus Isaac. He is a Australian German writer. He has his connections with Australia, but he is more towards the German side. So we often learn him under German literature. Okay. Now tell me, who wrote The Cherry Pickers? Who wrote the work titled The Cherry Pickers? That is Kevin Gilbert. Who wrote The Removalists? Who wrote The Removalists? That is David Williamson. David Williamson. Who wrote The Cake Men? Who wrote The Cake Man? The Cake Man is a work of Robert J. Merritt. Robert J. Merritt. Now tell me, who is the author of the poem Eve to Her Daughters? Eve to Her Daughters. She is a famous writer from Australia. Eve to Her Daughters. It is Judith Wright. It is Judith Wright. Correct. Okay. Now tell me, which work of Patrick White is based on the Parker family? Which work of Patrick White is based on the Parker family? That is The Tree of Man. The Tree of Man. Correct. Now, what is the title of the autobiographical work of Sally Morgan? Sally Morgan. That is My Place. Correct. Okay, Jack Max is what is the actual inspiration for the character Jack Max? It is Abel Magwitch. When was Great Expectations published? 1861. When was Woes published? When was Woes published? In 1957. In 1957. Ludwig Leichhardt is a dash. What is he in Woes? What is his profession? What is he? What is his profession? He is on a voyage now, but what is his actual profession? He is an explorer, yes. This character is based on a naturalist. This character is based on a naturalist. His name is Ludwig Leichhardt. Yes. Okay. So are you able to remember these writers? Are you able to remember them? Yes. Who wrote the poem Aboriginal Australia? Who wrote the poem Aboriginal Australia? That is Jack Davis. Who wrote the poem Australia? Who wrote Australia? That is A.D. Hope. A.D. Hope. Who wrote Riders in the Chariot? Yes. Riders in the Chariot. Riders in the Chariot is Patrick White. Patrick White. Riders to the Sea. Who wrote Riders to the Sea? That is James Synge. Who wrote Ladies from the Sea? There is a work titled Ladies from the Sea. That is A.D. Hope. Correct. Okay. Now tell me, which is this famous weekly in Australia, which was founded in Sydney? It is the Bulletin. It is the Bulletin. Who are the most popular contributors to the Bulletin? The most popular contributors to Bulletin? That is A.B. Banjo Patterson and Henry Lawson. Out of these two, who talked about the bush in a romantic manner? It is Banjo Patterson. Who wrote about the bush in a harsh manner, about the realistic life? It is Lawson. Yes. Who created the character Tom Collins? No. Tom Collins. Tom Collins is the pen name of which character? Tom Collins is the pen name of which character? That is Joseph Furphy. What is the name of the character created by Lawson? That is Joe Wilson. Yes. Correct. Okay. Who is known to be the father of Australian novel? Father of Australian novel, that is Joseph Furphy. Okay. Yes. Is it easier to remember now? Is it easier to remember now? Yes. Okay. So now tell me, I'll ask you some other questions. Who wrote Toba Tek Singh? Who wrote Toba Tek Singh? It is Saadat Hasan Manto. Saadat Hasan Manto. Is he related to partition literature? Is Manto related with partition literature? Yes. Whose first novel is The Contradictions? The Contradictions is the first novel of Zulfikar Ghosh. Zulfikar Ghosh. His first novel is titled The Contradictions. Okay. Now tell me, who wrote the work titled Cracking India? Cracking India. It is about the partition of India. It was also published as Ice Candy Man with the title Ice Candy Man. It is Bapsi Sidhwa. Bapsi Sidhwa. Which is the highest honor in arts that is given to a citizen in Pakistan? What is the name of this award? It was given to Bapsi Sidhwa. It is Sitara Imtiaz. Sitara Imtiaz. Correct. Who wrote Bush in Babylon? Who wrote the book titled Bush in Babylon, where he attacks the invasion of Iraq? It is Tariq Ali. It is Tariq Ali. Who wrote Remembering Babylon? Who wrote Remembering Babylon? It is David Malouf. What is the name of the character in Remembering Babylon? Who is abandoned in an island? It is Jemmy Fairley. It is Jemmy Fairley. He is a character from Remembering Babylon. Okay. My Beautiful Laundrette is a novel by Hanif Qureshi. Is that true? My Beautiful Laundrette. It is a screenplay. My Beautiful Laundrette is a screenplay which was written by Hanif Qureshi. Which is this famous work of Hanif Qureshi which was published in 1990. This won the Whitbread Award for the best first novel. Which work is it? It is the Buddha of Suburbia. Buddha of Suburbia. Correct. A Case of Exploding Mangoes is the first novel of which writer? A Case of Exploding Mangoes. It is Muhammad Hanif. Muhammad Hanif. That is correct. Okay. Who wrote the play titled Disgraced? Disgraced is a play written by Ayad Akhtar. When was it performed? When was it performed? In 2013. In 2013. It is titled Disgraced. Who wrote the novel titled Disgrace? That is J.M. Coetzee. When was it published? In 1999. The play Disgraced came out in 2013 by Ayad Akhtar. Okay. Now tell me, who wrote Home Fire, which is based on Sophocles' Antigone? Home Fire, which is based on Sophocles' Antigone. That is Kamila Shamsi. Kamila Shamsi. That is correct. Okay. Whose first novel is Season of the Rainbirds? Season of the Rainbirds. Whose first novel is Season of the Rainbirds? That is Nadeem Aslam. Nadeem Aslam. His first novel is titled Season of the Rainbirds. Yes. Okay. Who wrote works like The Cinnamon Peeler, Running in the Family? These are all works of Michael Ontange. Michael Ontange. He is a Sri Lankan born writer. Yes. Okay. When was The English Patient published? When was The English Patient published? In 1992. That is correct. In 1992. When was Anil's Ghost published? Anil's Ghost. That was in 2000. In 2000, Anil's Ghost was published. Okay. Yes, correct. Now, whose first, one of the first novels is Cinnamon Gardens. Cinnamon Gardens. Who wrote the work titled Cinnamon Gardens? It is Shyam Selvadure. Who wrote The Cinnamon Peeler? The Cinnamon Peeler, that is Michael Ontanji. Cinnamon Gardens is a work of Shyam Salvadore. Who wrote a Funny Boy? Who wrote Funny Boy? The work titled Funny Boy? It is Shyam Salvadore. Who wrote A Suitable Boy? A Suitable Boy is a work of Vikram Seth. Suitable Boy is a work of Vikram Seth. Now, Seven Moons of Mali Almeida is a work of Shehan Karnatilaka. Which award did this work win? In 2022. Which award did this work win? Is it the Booker Prize? Is it the International Man Booker? It is the Booker Prize. It won the Booker Prize in 2022. Correct. Okay. Now tell me, whose first novel is titled Reef? R-E-E-F. Reef. It is Romesh Gunashekhara. It is Romesh Gunashekhara. Okay. Who wrote Lajja? Lajja in 1993. It is Taslima Nazrin. Taslima Nazrin. Is Brick Lane the first novel of Monica Ali? Is Brick Lane the first novel of Monica Ali? Yes, it is. It is the first novel of Monica Ali. When was it published? When was it published? In 2003. In 2003, which is same as that of? Which is same as that of? Namesake. Namesake was made into a movie in which year? Namesake was made into a movie in 2006. Who is the director? Who is the director? It is Meera Nair. It is Meera Nair. Last question. Who wrote Namesake? Who wrote Namesake? It is Jhumpa Lahiri. Which work of Jhumpa Lahiri was published in 1999? That is Interpreter of Maladies. Which work of J.M. Coetzee was published in 1999? It is Disgrace. Last question. Which award did this work win? Which award did Disgrace win? The Booker Prize. Correct. Okay. So, we had a long day. How was it? Did you like it? Is it too much? I know it is too much, but this is how we should do it. Yes, okay. You're all answering so nice, so brilliant. I am so happy. We're all so happy about you because all of you are answering the questions. Thank you so much. Please make sure to attend all the sessions, the marathon sessions. Take rest, revise properly. We're all here to help you. Okay? Please drink water, feel relaxed, don't tense too much, don't stress it too much, revise it well. Yes. We will see if we can send you the PDF. Okay. Because we ask questions from different areas, it is not from one single PDF. Okay. So thank you so much. We will meet you in the next session. Take care.